And we're live.
Again. I think the only person that could have done that joke as good is Little Johnny.
Oh, why can't I? Why am I?
Why all I can think is Bobcat Goldthwait. Well, if it comes to you, who's the adoption guy in Problem Child? Why is that what I remember him from?
Well, it's not Rodney Dangerfield you're thinking of.
No,
it's not.
no.
It's not that.
Really glad this made it into the fucking.
I know, right? Well, I was just so Bob Saget was really good at that sort of humor as well, and because everybody knew him from the sitcom, it was even more shocking to see him talk like that because you're used to him being like this, dad character, and then you hear him say this horrible shit.
Right,
You're like, what
right.
the fuck?
Right.
It comes so far out of left field that you don't expect it at all, and I think that makes it funnier. But
if I tell you the first letter of the guy's name, it's G.
Oh, Godfrey.
Yeah. Gilbert Godfrey, yes.
Yeah.
Godfrey, the black comedian that we played in the show last week. That's
the Affleck guy.
Affleck, yeah. He got fired by Affleck because he made a 9/11 joke.
Right.
Okay. All right. Hey, man, he lived by his own rules, right? He lives his life a quarter mile at a time.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword.
I have a two-parter to open the show. First is a little fun for you.
Okay.
I want you to do some Googling.
All right. What am I Googling?
Type in this. It's here right under there. It says Cramble Maritima. Listeners, go ahead and try this at home. CRAMBLE MARATIMA. And I want you to tell me what the common name is of that.
Common name, okay.
What are you looking at there? Is it a plant?
Sea kale.
Well, wait, say that again.
Sea kale.
Whoa. We got a white supremacist here, Alan. Wow. Well, that's got a spot on the sheet. We'll put that right next to all your other ones.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
No, this is it's a lettuce based sea plant is what it is. It's kale in the sea.
Yeah. Sounds like you're saying salute. You want to try it again?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. You're saying it awfully upbeat when you say it too.
I know. I was excited. I was like, oh, that's cool.
It's different. He has his left arm up, listeners. It's not the same thing. You're not the only person I got with this. I got Way to send in a recording of him doing it. So yeah, get ready. We have Vietnamese white supremacist. And then this happened.
Sea kale. Sea kale.
This happened in the group chat, and then I told you not to look, and then I deleted all of this. Me and Way deleted everything. Did you see any of the remnant of this?
I did not.
Here's you did what? You did not see it?
I didn't.
Sea kale.
Good job, Way.
Great job, Way. Nicely done.
Yeah. Yep. That was my idea. I was proud of that one. Anyways, speaking of 9/11 jokes, I forgot I had this going on here. So this will start the show. Let me get. Oh, wait, hold on. Got to get those buttons on the soundboard. We do this live.
You know, the weird thing is that the first 9/11 joke that you hear, you're like, "Ah, damn, am I a bad person for laughing? Because it was a tragedy and all this stuff." And then the second one hits.
Don't let me in.
You know, the weird thing is.
Should we hit record?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
All right, you ready?
I am ready. Are you recording?
Yes. All right. Well, you want to start a show?
Let's start a show.
That podcast is filling your head with garbage.
No offense taken there.
Well, it sounds like none taken.
Ask your mama, she'll say the same thing. I got all the ways, I just ain't got the means.
Boom. To episode number 372 of None Taken, the internet's only debate and current events show with your hosts Dustin and Al, two political nomads from two different worlds. Shout out to Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band for the use of their song Ways and Means for intro music. And thank you for joining us. Time of this recording, it is Tuesday, June 4th, 2024. It's a great day for America. We are two coastal elites coming to you from the shores of the mighty Cumberland in Madison, Tennessee, all the way to the Pacific waters of El Cerrito, California. Here to recap another week of current events and sharing a little too much of our tragic personal lives. And taking a sledgehammer to the culture war echo chambers. Please subscribe right now wherever you're listening to this and tell a friend about it. It's the best thing you do. Share it on your feed. Hey, when you share us in the Instagram, tap it once so that it shows a brief description of the thing so it's not just the image. That helps, I think. That helps.
Yes.
But what you're doing is great. Thank you. Keep doing that. Just get the word out. And, that's how things are. It's a bigger party for us. We got a new, I got to stop doing this because people keep asking me. And I'm like, I don't know. I can't have everybody in the group chat, but you see Punk Rock Bob Foster's in that group chat.
I did see that. Yeah.
It's in fucking perfect, doesn't he?
He absolutely does.
Plus, we got another one of those crazy lefties in there so that it's not just Toaster in there. I don't know. Everybody in our orbit, that's awful. Everybody in our ecosystem is very multifaceted. I feel like, that's what we like about it. Why did I stop sharing this? Stop looking at that guy. Do I say other things? Oh, I know. I'm not wearing any of our merch, so I'll talk about something else. Head on over to nonetakenpod.com. From there, you'll find a link where you can join the Patreon. For as low as $3 a month, you can get in there. You get all of the videos. All of the new episodes have a video that goes with it that has more context because the video's there. Every episode we do has, today it was almost an hour pre-show. We call that the secret track. The secret track tends to be things that age a little bit better. So you're actually going to get some old content there. You're not going to open up and look at us talking about the news from 6 months ago if you join there. However, today we did talk about Trump's. You know what? Something tells me that's going to be current whenever you listen to that.
Yes.
But, it's comedy clips. It's how about that type of things. It's a bunch of stuff that we like to it would make the big show too bloated. It's 3 hours long already,
And sometimes we put the spicier clips over there, and you listen to this show, so we already get pretty spicy.
Yes, yeah.
So
when we started this episode, we were finishing off talking about a Norm Macdonald clip that there was just no way we were playing on this.
Yeah.
You guys are cool, but I can't trust you. You don't want to share that to a friend. Once, try a show. In the first 20 minutes, they'd say that,
For $3 a month, it's absolutely worth it. All that content over there, guys. You get the unedited video, you get the hidden tracks, you get our advanced access to our interviews and stuff like that. We have we're going to play our Mike Burns interview next week for you, as well as our time on Foxhole with Cody. That'll be our shows for you next week.
Those have been in the can for 2 months.
So if you're on the Patreon, you already heard those 2 months ago. So
now me and Alan are on record. We like it in the can, but
somebody isolate that, please. Also, check out our merch store at nonetakenpod.com. You can get some cool cunt mugs or some edging service hoodies. We got some good stuff over there.
Culture Warrior shirt if you join the Patreon at the $18 a month level, you get the Culture War veteran shirts. So.
Absolutely. You got to DM Dustin, though. That way you can send it to you.
Yes.
Also, don't forget to support the people that support us. SlickestDigital.com for all your SEO and marketing needs. SlickestDigital.com.
He's the guy that sent in that Colin Coward clip this week. Made me mad in the pre-show.
God damn it, Slickets.
How you been, bud? What you been up to?
I am good, man. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Hope you're all having a great week. I personally didn't get up to a whole heck of a lot this weekend. I did listen to a cool book, which I'll talk about on the Thursday or the Friday show, rather.
The meme where it's found a cool rock?
Yeah.
That's how you sound. You're sorry, I got to listen to a cool book. I found it at the beach.
I found a cool buck. So not a whole lot for me. Now, I know that you have a very exciting weekend coming up, and I see you have a lot to talk about.
I just have a little bit of a story that I wanted to notate, so I remembered it.
Let's hear it.
So I bought, as you can tell, this really cool cowboy hat.
Sexy hat. It is a sexy hat.
Pretty affordable, I gotta say, for the quality of hat that it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not beaver pelt, so it's wool, but it's high quality wool. Contain yourself, Alan. So it would have been $180, but I was so excited I saw it. I told them it's going to be part of the wedding and all this stuff, and the ladies there were, I'm pretty charming, Alan.
I've noticed.
So by the time I go to check out, she just marked it down to 150 for me. So that was nice.
Nice.
And then
really
she
cool.
branded the back. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh yeah.
It's got my old initials on
TH.
there.
And
now you
NE.
know Natasha's.
That's very cool.
So
It truly is a good looking hat.
Thank you. It's my favorite hat. I've got nothing but compliment. We were at a pool party on Monday or Sunday. It's not a part of my weekend wrap up. And there was like girls in the pool being like, I was like, thanks, my girlfriend's right here.
My fiance,
yeah, soon to be wife, Alan. Next time we do a show, next time we do a big show, I'll be saying the W word instead.
Yes.
Okay, so I bought this cowboy hat for the wedding. Real sharp. It's got that sharp angle fold on it. It matches my suit fucking perfectly. Like I hoped it matched. Like I put it on, it looks like it was all together.
Nice.
Anyways, it ended up being about $150. I wore it out Friday to D's, our local honky tonk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just burped into the microphone. God damn it. I did it again. So I wore it out Friday to D's, and I won't say any names in this story. So I don't want anybody to catch on there. I don't want any of the people behind the counter to catch on. So there was a few Western swing bands that were playing there. There was like 3 different bands that were playing, which means, each band has, there's a steel player, there's like 5 people on the stage each time. So 15 of the people walking around the bar
are in the band.
Right? Yeah.
Right. Okay.
It was a great fucking night out. It was, I don't think I said it. It was Western swing. So it was it was awesome, man. It was like, actually,
rock is a good time.
Yeah, it was a great time. I mean, the opening band I wish was the headliner. They were fantastic.
Nice.
Like jumping steel guitar, fiddle was on fire. Like even little honky tonk piano solos. It sounded like, sort of like Great Balls of Fire style. You don't
get that too often. That's pretty.
Don't.
Yeah. Okay.
It was great.
All right. I like.
So I go to check out, and I found out not only did they not charge me for most of my drinks, but they gave me. There was a line on the receipt that said band discount.
No shit.
Yeah.
You think it was the hat, or what?
I would guess it was the hat. So like now this hat's only cost me like $120. Like this thing is making me money, right?
You're gonna be making money by the time the month's over.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah. No, let's get into the show. I don't think we have as much in the front half of the show, but this show's gonna have a thick back end.
Ooh, the way we like it.
That's right. Something gay. Not the wrong button. That's good enough. Let's get into a clip that Alan sent in. My only note is 50 states. I don't really remember this. This is Kellen Erskine. Kellen Erskine. Just make it difficult. Don't change your name. It's fine. Yeah, good enough. I set it up, Alan. 50 states.
I was looking at a map of the United States, and I know that we were colonized from east to west, right to left, but it looks like it was the other way around. It looks like the founding fathers approached some guy, and they had like an outline of the future country on a piece of paper, and they gave him that in a pen and said, listen, we need you to divide this into 50 sections. Start on the left side. And he was like, oh yeah, there is plenty of room. If you don't get that, you shouldn't be allowed to vote.
Oh, damn it. I'm trying to get to the laugh page. What did I do? This is great audio. There we go. That's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
Yeah.
Did you say like a greeting card? Because that's
yeah, it's like filling out a birthday card, right? You're like,
exactly.
You start cramming letters in. Yeah,
I got to put it in the corner.
When you're doing that in like elementary school, you just figure someday you'll be a grown up and have spatial understanding.
It's still a problem when you find out later. Yes.
Okay, Thrash. I got a couple clips from Thrash. This one is Adderall. I love this. By the way, I saw an AC/DC sticker that said ADHD. I think it was in the group chat. I was like, I need that. I need that as a fucking shirt. So this is Adele Givens.
Ladies, when you're having a baby, make sure you name them some shit that they can live up to. Because I got friends, ain't gonna never live up to their names. I do. I got a friend named Alexis, look like a Buick.
Mercedes.
Not a regular Buick, one of them old fucked up 1973 Buicks. One of the doors a different color than the rest of the car, all fucked up. I got a friend named Champagne, look like a 40. Not a regular 40. One of the kind you grab the bottle and bust it on the curb, they'll cut a bitch with, you know.
So I think she was pretty good with the first one. The 41, I was like, yeah, well, I mean, man, old E800, right? That's
Yeah.
Oh, wait, didn't I say I had an Adderall one?
Yeah. It's
Oh, that was the baby names ones.
was
This is the Adderall one.
This is-
Nobody listens to me. Okay, Adderall joke. This is Tony Casillas. I have a friend whose name was his last name was Macias, and his Instagram name was More Chairs. Macias. Spanish joke, right?
That's pretty good. I had a counselor in high school named Mrs. Macias.
Yeah. Well, you should have told her about the
I should
more
have told her
chairs.
about the chairs thing.
More chairs joke. Yeah.
I'm a scientist, but I feel like there's a correlation between us giving our kids Adderall and the rise of school shootings. I just don't think every kid needs to be that focused.
Jesus.
Like me, I have ADHD. They never gave me Adderall. I'm not saying I've ever done a school shooting. I just know for a fact I could have never planned one. It's a lot of steps. I get distracted so easy. I would be in my room like, F that place. Oh, shit, the McRib's back. By the time I went and got the McRib, ate it, and came back, I would have been like, why am I even mad? You know, I would have jerked off, played Madden, and life would have been okay again.
They're trying to, in Tennessee's doing the stuff that other states are doing where you got to have age verification to get to porn sites. It's like, man, if you want more school shootings, like take porn away from the kids. But I'm telling you, like, I'm not saying prescribe porn to the kids. I'm just saying give people outlets. Like,
people need to get their energy out somewhere.
Yeah. So, gooning and
me and the boys are edgy.
Yeah. And your hours occupied on something, just get through this fucking decade of your life and then just stop bothering people somewhere, you know?
I was listening to Power Moves with Mike Burns, and his buddy moved to Dallas, I guess, about a year ago, and he was talking
Power
about
Moves good.
It's
Like,
really good.
It's a okay. Sorry, I love that the pod.
I like that it only comes out like once a month because you can
Yeah.
really get it, like it distills.
Yeah.
But his buddy was talking about moving to Dallas, and suddenly you can't get Pornhub anymore, and he's like, "What the fuck?" It's like a whole thing. You just can't get it unless you have like a VPN there. So we had
Even
to
if
find.
you say that you're
You just can't. So you have to find like alternative
Pornhub
means.
kind of sucks too, though. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I am about to get too specific about what I like to look for. Like, if you have anything that is at all like spicy, they're like, no, you can. Okay, I'm not. Can you say what I'm not gonna say in a way that won't make me look like a fucking raging pervert?
Well, I just saw a comedian, I can't remember who it was, say that it was Simon King. He said, I typed what I wanted into the search bar at Pornhub and there was no results.
Yeah.
He's like that is not a good thing.
Either they scrubbed them. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What did he say? What was his joke?
Oh, he just said that's not a good thing. Like I basically ran out of internet. You don't want to win the internet.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to win the porn internet. Like that's not a good thing. It's not a good place to be.
I feel like I'm oversharing. I feel like for once I'm like, I wish I didn't say a lot of that. DM me, I'll tell you.
It's okay. You're getting married this weekend.
Yeah. Actually, there's one person I'm kind of thinking that I wish I didn't say. Actually, then there's also her aunt and uncle still listen to the podcast. But we talk about footy every weekend. It's been a bad season for the Crows, man. That's okay. I've been watching.
You still have a cool jersey though.
I got a great jersey. That Guernsey or whatever. Jersey. I don't know how to say it. Okay, let's move on. So probably the best thing we do right now is move on to the joke Slickett sent in, which is I think it says lesbians versus gay. Is that what it says?
It does. That's what it says. Yes.
All right. I like this guy. He has one mode. He always just does stoner sitting in a chair telling stories. Like, okay.
A little bit Mark Maron vibe, kind of.
He does have Mark Maron vibe. Yeah.
I dated women all my life. And I found more and more women that I dated as I got older had experiences with other women. But when you question them about it, they describe the situation like it happened accidentally. And that would confuse me as a man. I'd say to a woman, you ever been with another woman? It was always long-winded. Well, once. The men were fishing. It was foggy that day. I was with Jane. We were at the lake house drinking red wine, and she found a twister game above the shoes. We had played since we were kids. She got an odd spin, red dot right hand, and as she reached over me, brushed against my breasts. Well, we giggled, then she fondled my breasts and went down on me, and it was beautiful. but we're not lesbians. I have yet to run into a bloke with that kind of story. Was watching the game with Dave. It's a little boring at halftime, so we thought we'd kick the ball around for a little while. He came down on a breakaway, tried to score. I went out to meet him. We got tangled up, and as he fell over me, he cupped my balls. We giggled, and the next thing you know, his cock was in my mouth. I'm not saying we're gay, but we're going fishing next week.
Way to bring it back to a Brokeback reference,
Yes.
right?
Very nice.
Which, by the way, I still haven't seen that movie.
I haven't either, actually.
Me and Natasha were actually talking about that this weekend. I can't remember if she said she'd seen it or not, but like, I remember anybody that told me that I had to see that movie was like, it's not about it being gay. I was like, yeah, I know. That's not the part that's interesting to me either. The part that's interesting to me is the love story, which are movies I don't go see. Like, like if you're telling me the thing that makes it interesting is because there's this, like, they're hiding the gay relationship.
Right.
That's, I understand that makes a love story more
That's
interesting.
a good story. Yes.
I don't watch those movies. Like, I don't like I like actions and comedies, and occasionally there's like really good dramas that will bring you in, and perhaps that is one of those. But and then it becomes this thing where it's like, if you're telling me that's the whole reason it's good, then it's not good. Like, also,
well, I think the
this was
cinematography
point. It was weird that they cast 2 straight men to do it, and I'm surprised they haven't done a sequel. They should do a sequel with gays.
When did that movie come out? Because I feel like that was
2003 or 2004. I was
it was pretty early.
Yeah,
so that's 20 years ago. Jeez.
Yeah, and one of those guys is dead.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Rest in peace, Joker. Joker. That's right, Joker. All right.
He was a good Joker.
He was a good Joker. Yes. You know what? I'll say this: all the Jokers have been good. Even the Jared Leto Joker. It was weird they cut out all of the scenes with him. Like, it was like, wow, you put him in the commercials and he's in like 2 scenes and he kicks her out of a helicopter. There's like no Joker in that movie. All the Jokers.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Even oh no, that's Riddler. Okay. Mima sent this one in. This is just real quick, keeping it on the LGBTQ. It's Pride Month.
It's crazy how like 10 years ago everybody was afraid of trans fats and now everybody's celebrating fat trans.
That was easy picking low fruit there.
Let's move on to the Nate Craig jokes.
Oh yeah.
My buddy Ari, he was a stay-at-home dad during the pandemic. He's got a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. And I would call him, and just every call sounded like he'd called 911 and dropped the phone.
Dude, like, not just during the pandemic, like talking to parents on the phone. It's just like, because my old boss, when I was like getting into HVAC, my boss was like, call me from every job you're at if you're stuck. Like, I won't mind. And he had 2 kids at the time, and it was just like, dude, I'm bugging you. I'll deal with this, but this is fucking horrible. Like,
no, don't do that. Put that down. No, what are you doing?
And he would answer too, right? Because it was all day for him, and he's like, oh, dude, what's up? Dude, hold on. Are you bleeding? What's going on? What's happening? Sadie, no. Sadie, no, not now. No. Go with your sister then. Just go with your sister. Just sit for a second. Just go with your sister, buddy. Sadie, hold on. Your brother's coming. Sadie, wait up. Go with your sister. And then it's juice time. Yes, thank you. And then, or I cancel juice time. Do I have to cancel juice time? Or do I have to cancel juice time?
The way he's rubbing the microphone around on the floor and against his shirt is funny.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Hold on, dude. I got Cheerios. I don't ever even buy Cheerios. There's Cheerios in every car I got. Sadie! Wait for your brother, Sadie! Man, hold up. Dude, I'm at Whole Foods. I got to call you back. My buddy,
I thought there was more. He put so much audience in at the end.
Yeah,
Nate Craig is so good, but he's too handsome.
Yeah.
Speaking of Brokeback Mountain, just look at how handsome he is.
He knows it too. He's always wearing those sharp suits, like he's all coiffed.
Yep. Oh, coiffed. I have a clip of Buzz later on. Well, it's not a clip. I have a clip. Well, whatever. I was listening to Buzz Burbank today, and he was saying that Trump has tousled hair. and you don't hear the word tousled very much.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially with a former president.
True. That's true.
Here's a clip Bob sent. This is Trump convicted.
Bob Seska? No, I'm kidding.
No, I know. Yeah. No, punk rock Bob. Oh my God, I got to play it on TikTok. All right, here we go.
I'm looking up the second largest city in Arizona, and then I get a notification on my phone that Trump has been convicted on all 34 charges. Oh, too soon. It's actually
Audience.
pronounced Tucson. Okay, so did you realize?
You hear that?
Yes.
34 charges. Oh, too soon. It's actually pronounced Tucson. Okay.
I dated a girl that called it Tucson.
Are you serious?
You know her. You know her. That one
Okay.
in Napa.
Oh,
She called it Tucson. I'm like, how? You know, it's fine. It's not your language. I mean, it
not
is
all
but-
that surprising.
Yeah, exactly. No, the sharpest crayon in the box.
Now I know who it is. Yeah.
Crayons don't get sharp. What do they say? Crayons?
Cranes.
Not the brightest crayon in the box. That's what it is. Yep. Not the sharpest bulb in the pack. Can I move on? Let's get into our segment. Let's start things off with one of our favorite things, a news blooper. This is I don't remember this one. I'm really excited about it because it's going to be new to me. It says
You love
that's
a
the wrong
good news
video.
blooper.
That's so I think the background, the video that's playing while they're setting up this story is not going to match the story they're setting.
Now, News 12 Sports with Pat Murphy.
A great news regarding Bills tight end Kevin Everett. He moved.
It shows a guy being like pushed through court, and
Like
he
in a
starts
wheelchair.
kicking the police officers that are coming up to him, and they're gonna start like tasing him and shit and beating him in the ear.
Arms and legs today. And doctors now believe that's the wrong video, by the way. That is not the right video.
Now,
Oopsies.
Join the Patreon if you want to see the video. Oh boy, I love sharing these. And you know, it's a crime we don't do it every week, but every time there's a NASCAR race, NASCAR isolates all the best audio. You'd think it's a stunt. You'd think that when he does this, it's like a season's worth. This is one race.
Lock the door. I can't leave. Trying to edge one another out, getting into the corners.
Ross Chastain took the hole, and everybody's on top of each other. They saw him coming years ago in the quarter midgets.
It's a good Midwestern measure.
Willie B is coming, and he's the guy I keep my eye on.
Christopher Bell has been going at it with Austin Cindric due to inspection.
Front end feels tight. The rear
due to inspection. I wish I could rewind it. That's my favorite part of the whole clip. Due to inspection.
is loose.
And they are really going at it.
Those guys are desperate. That was a squeeze play, wasn't it? Right back on the inside comes Larson.
Very hard when those things go up and down.
Everybody, please come with me.
He just said it's sideways, and I don't know why.
We need to watch a lot of places because Martin Truex Jr. is going to be coming. That's so frustrating when you're there, but you just can't quite close the deal.
McDowell, meat in the sandwich. On the bottom comes Harvick.
They were coming on him pretty hard on the inside.
Come on, Kevin. Give me that push.
They just stay hot the whole time, and they don't typically cycle like we're seeing today.
That's got to be it, please. Please be it.
Kind of like your mom. 5 times Kyle and Kyle have finished 1-2.
Which one won?
Kyle.
Which one won?
They locked the door. I can't leave.
That's it. Oh, thank God. By the way, last week or last time we played one of these, you asked a couple of corrections. It's been bugging me. You asked who the Mike O'Mara driver was. The FedEx driver was Denny Hamlin.
Right.
I can't remember who I said it.
Was he
I
FedEx though, not UPS.
Oh, maybe you know what? Some parcel service, Alan.
Yeah.
Speaking of sponsors, I mistakenly said Tony Stewart drove for Lowe's. Of course, he didn't drive for Lowe's. He drove for Home Depot. All right.
Right.
Better now. All right. Smoke.
You should play that Cody clip about they thought they were banning alcohol, but
You think that you're going to outlaw
right here.
alcohol, but really what you did is invent NASCAR.
I got it right there. It was on the same page.
Nice.
I love it. Here's a clip that I had to watch twice to actually get what they were talking about. So it's a guy doing a spliced video where they're doing the one video and then he's reviewing it and making his joke, and
the reaction video kind of thing.
This is the meta version of that where we were playing that and talking about both of them.
Okay.
So the guy on the bottom half of the video is talking about 3.5-inch floppy disks and how he's gonna see if his kids have any understanding of what that could be. I feel like you're gonna get the joke the first time. I had to watch it twice. I didn't share it.
Old enough to remember using a 3.5-inch floppy.
I still do, brother.
You get it? He's saying he's got
still It has a 3.5-inch
Hey,
floppy.
man,
Yes.
3.5 floppy. That's probably pretty good once you grow, right?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an indication of where it's going to finish up. But if you're starting off with 3.5, I think you're going to end up okay.
I think you'll be all right. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
I still do.
I'm about to show my kids.
Whoa.
Maybe they're welders, Alan. Join the Patreon to get that joke. All right, let's do. I got some relationship advice. I kind of have a couple. Oh, it's not there anymore. Come on.
Oh,
no. Man, Bull Moose sent a great clip. Something about Latinas. Oh well. Oh, you know what it was? It was this autistic guy saying, "I'm autistic, so I've analyzed this a lot. And if you like," he said, Canada speaks French, which is technically a Romance language, which all Romance language is derived from Latin, which means Canadians count as Latinas, and that way you don't have to have good food. So he insulted everyone with it.
Wow.
Because Mexicans have better food, except for the poutine. But you don't want to put the poutine on a pedestal, Alan.
You don't want to do that. Don't
put the poutine on the pedestal.
It's not good for your life experience.
Poutine pedestal. And I don't know what that says. So I'm going to send you a picture of my show notes later, and you're going to tell me what I wrote down, okay?
I can't remember who her name is, but she's a lesbian comedian, and she had this joke about being in Canada and being offered poutine, and she thought the waitress was hitting on her and offering her, the other thing.
Yeah.
It was very
because it was with that Montreal accent,
right?
Well, the French Montreal accent, not the Toronto accent's the one that's unbearable, man, dude. I mean, I've never been to France, but I've been to French Canada, Montreal, and it is intoxicating. Like it is.
Is it?
Oh boy. And then
I've
they
never
just
been to
start
that side of
speaking
Canada.
perfect English like this, like with this sound. Like
Really?
they speak like West Coast English, and then they go into just God.
Okay.
Oh boy, you should go.
Put that on the list.
You should go to Montreal. And then
I've only been to the western coast of Canada, never the eastern side.
Man, Montreal is beautiful, but like we had that comedian on here who he's like, it's just Cleveland, but with French, and it's like, okay, if that's how you feel about
Simon,
it,
yes.
yeah. All right, this is so I've got two clips that are kind of about the whole man versus bear thing. Can you summarize that? We're a month at least late into this.
Yeah, so it's would you rather have your daughter in the woods with
I've heard it's just first person. Like, would you rather be up against a man versus a bear?
A lot of them have been recently after that kicker from Kansas City came out. Would you rather have your daughter in the woods with him or a bear? It's been a big.
So they go daughter. I feel like the way I've heard it presented is, would you
personally,
ladies, would you rather have to go up against a man versus a bear? And the takeaway is men make women feel unsafe, and they would rather risk it versus a bear than a man, which is completely illogical. But I'm not going to fall into this trap of the way men sound when they fight against that, right? Like it's avoidable. I don't have to make that argument. They don't, whatever I would think of verbalizing, is the truth of that story. So I don't have to look like a, alpha dog, whatever, top dog, bullshit. Here. So this is our first of two clips on this subject.
Black bears eat their prey alive and ass first.
This is why I'm choosing the bear.
How about that?
This sounds a little racist.
Oh, how about that?
This is a black bear, Alan.
It's very funny.
Okay, thank you. T-Bone sent this in. This is they flipped it. She flipped it.
Point undoubtedly.
I've sent this to a couple of group chats that I'm in that have like maybe one woman in it. The internet. And the guys really like this clip.
You have heard of the man versus bear question, and who would a woman rather be left alone in the woods with? Well, now the tables are turning because men have their own version of the question. Who would you rather share your feelings with, a tree or a woman? And I'm just going to say it. I think this is the perfect addition to the conversation. Some people are calling this the boys' revenge, but I don't even think this is asked in bad faith. It's the perfect counterbalance to the question if the point was to actually have authentic conversations about how to feel safer in relationships. Women have been saying that the whole reason that women are picking bear is because they don't feel safe with men and that men should care about that. So it would be intellectually consistent that when men tell you they don't feel safe sharing their feelings with women, we should care about that. Guys have been hearing for the last month or so that if they have a problem with a woman choosing the bear, they're the reason that women chose the bear.
Fair, which is fair. Like, that is a fair criticism, not
Sure.
as a blanket statement. Like, you can be a good guy and say, I don't think you'll win a fight against a bear, right?
Right.
But making a passionate argument about that, you're going to look bad. So just don't, right? Like,
yes, exactly.
Implying, I guess, that you single-handedly represent the most reprehensible of all mankind simply because you're a bit skeptical about the fight mechanics there. And all I can really say is if that's an opinion you had, be ready to keep up that same energy. If you have an issue with a man choosing the tree over the woman, you're the reason he chose tree. Oh, you think him picking the tree is dumb? Sounds like something that a woman who would take the skeletons in her man's closet and throw them right in his face the second she starts losing an argument would say.
Oh, how about that?
And now is a good time for me to just get out in front of this and say, Natasha, I love you because we don't fight.
How about that? How about that, indeed?
Isn't that something? We had a slight disagreement last night about something I was wrong about, and I was just too upset in the moment to like. All I said was like, "Yeah, I'll be better at that," and that was like the worst things have ever been with us. It was
nice.
I can't.
That's awesome, dude.
Forever to know.
Yeah, personally, I'd pick tree. I haven't met Natasha yet, so personally.
Oh, so many questions I won't say. I love you so much. Okay. So I've been drinking out of this Maxwell House mug that I found at a. So we went to this thing last weekend. Let me move it closer.
Yeah,
we went to this thing last weekend called a Makers
Fair or something like that.
Something like that. So it wasn't vintage. It was people like craft makers, but like nice stuff. A lot of soap booths. Okay. A lot of $10 bars of soap. It's like, I'm going to turn this into drain water, right?
Any 3D printed bump stocks or anything like?
Not that. No.
Okay.
No, different show. Yeah. But it is Nashville, so I can understand you asking. Let me just have a sip of my beer.
Nice.
So I've been drinking out of this Maxwell House mug because I don't know if you remember last week, we found out that Maxwell House has some pretty cool old commercials.
Yeah.
Pretty cool old commercials. Now, I thought that was potentially an AI or it was a one-off. And then Slickett sent this in. And I was
did they really lean into it?
Because it reminded me of how all the music stuff started coming into the show. And it turned out they were all a bunch of AI music things, right?
Right.
And this is like perfect for AI to do this stuff, right?
Sure.
Vintage, you can make it slightly distorted to cover up any imperfections in the AI. And then I Googled it, and we can do this every show for a while.
Oh,
there are quite a few of these misogynistic 1960s Folgers commercials.
They really leaned into the message.
What last week was the contractor couldn't get anything done because you keep making bad coffee. So why don't you go make some instant Folgers coffee and be a good Maxwell housewife?
Yes, Maxwell coffee.
It's gonna get good to the last drop. It's gonna get this is somehow worse.
Harvey, want anything special for your birthday?
Just a decent cup of coffee.
You're kidding.
I'm serious. Honey, your coffee's undrinkable.
Pretty harsh.
Well, so's your coffee. The girls down at the office make better coffee on their hot plates. Well, see you later.
Wow. And he didn't even kiss me goodbye. If I could just make a decent cup of coffee, I could relax.
If you watch Play Misty for me, this woman on the left is exactly like the lady that's fucking like bat brain and crazy for Clint Eastwood.
Oh, wow.
Oh, relax. Why don't you try instant Folgers? Tastes good as fresh perked. Good as fresh perked. I'll surprise Harvey for his birthday tonight.
Just give him a blowjob.
Hey, great coffee.
It's instant Folgers. Doesn't it taste good as fresh perked?
Better.
Better than those girls make at the office?
Honey, their coffee can't hold a candle to yours.
Instant Folgers taste good as fresh perked. Try it.
Wow. Oh, how about that?
I bet those girls at the office give better head, though. All right. Let's move.
How about that, indeed?
Let's move things forward. So I like to think we're a pro mental health podcast. I think we talk about that quite a bit, right? A lot of people have been asking me, by the way, I'll share a little bit of it. I'm going to get into a little mental health thing here, right?
Okay.
You guys have heard me the last couple of weeks talk about some of the things with my anxiety. Ever since my injury, I've kind of been talking about some issues with anxiety that I never really had before. I wouldn't say I wasn't anxious at all before, but I feel it was like a normal, manageable level of anxiety. Things that were like, I would get anxious and be able to control it. Like, you know, even to the extent where it's like when I'd see people with like crippling anxiety, I was like, "Gee, I can't even imagine what that feels like." Now I do, you know? Yeah, you have a couple Hispanic attacks and then you're like, I get it now. So a lot of people ask me what I do to manage my anxiety. First of all, I'll tell you what worked for me last week. So Friday, let's see, Thursday, first half of the day was terrible. I was just like afraid to drink coffee. Like I was doing all my tricks. I have this trick where you like put your hands sort of like interlaced behind your head and you like look to the corner of your eye until it makes you yawn. And then you look to your other corner of your eye until it makes you yawn. And that's supposed to work. It kind of does sometimes. Sometimes you don't yawn and you get anxious about that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Never heard that.
Yeah. You know, I feel like it's a distraction. If you yawn twice, you tend to calm down, right? It's the same as taking 60 breaths, all those kinds of things, right? But sometimes it's just a matter of getting through things, right? The way out is through. And I had a half a good day on Thursday, and then I had a good day on Friday. No anxiety, manageable anxiety. Into Saturday morning, I was like, okay, if I have a good day today, that's 2 days in a row. And then if I have a good day on Sunday, that's 3 days in a row. That's a streak. And it's Tuesday now. I've got 5-day streak going on. Like that's
Nice.
and
That's
it
awesome.
becomes easy. You know, it's just like winning at anything, right? It's like
Sure.
I've been doing this. I can keep doing this. If even have a setback now, that's fine. Like I'm not, you know, it's not back to zero. You know, it's fine. Anyway, 'cause that's one thing that's sort of been working for me. But if you're ever feeling low, or if life's sort of getting you down, isolate this segment. Like if you're playing this on your phone, do a little screen grab of it, you know, and just make a little note folder of like a little mental health reminder, right? Like play this for yourself. It'll make you feel better in those moments.
Hey babe, what's up? Hey, why are you calling me? Are you in a public bathroom right now? Are you okay? Wait. Turn around, do that thing I like. Yeah. Oh my god, you're crowning. Yes. Oh my god, it's coming out. Ah, it's so big. Oh my god, it's so cute. Yes, keep going. Oh my god, whoever's in this bathroom with my man, you should be jealous. It's so fucking big. My man eats fiber. Oh, I love a healthy man, babe. Keep going. Keep it up. I love you so much. Yeah. I'll see you later. Okay. Bye.
All right. You know, it's just little tricks, you know, little things like that.
I wasn't expecting that. I was definitely not expecting that.
Oh,
Can I
okay.
tell you what I do?
Yeah. Do you
So
poop
actually-
in a public bathroom with
No, I learned this from Sam Harris, the framing thing, where like if you can just like reframe what you feel is anxiety as something else. So
Why haven't you
let's say,
talked to me about this, asshole? I'm actually kind of upset right now.
I feel like I have.
Oh, okay, go on.
Yeah, I'm sure I have.
No, say it again. Say it again. If you reframe it as something else, like what?
All right,
Like
so let's say
this is a body response that is important, and if you
so let's say you're going to be speaking in public, right?
Oh, I
You
don't
have to
worry
give a
about that.
speech or whatever, right? Whatever it is, right? And you're anxious about it. Then you can kind of like try and like zoom out and be like, well, actually, this kind of feels also like being excited. And
can you do this with existential dread?
Oof, I don't probably doesn't work there.
Okay.
I do try to do. I also try to I try to get outside of myself a little bit sometimes and just.
That's
like,
actually what's really been helping me is like all joking a salad. Like that's
Yeah.
not the real thing. That was just
right.
Like you know, my issue is I've always felt like, because I've meditated my whole life, like I've always felt like I'm in tune with my body.
Mhm.
And I felt like so much of my time is spent sort of getting out of my head and into my body. And so much of my anxiety is centered around, apparently I didn't notice my heart rate will start racing sometimes. And like, I never noticed that until I started worrying about my heart after being electrocuted to death. Right. Like, so now I'm like, it's happening again. I'm dying. Like when I have like a slight heart fluctuation.
Because you notice it because of the experience.
And what's working for me is to draw my attention into my mind, which is crazy to think. Like when you're anxious, actually draw your attention into your mind. Stop inhabiting your body so much and just be like, I'm a brain inside of a body. Fuck this body. Like, that's crazy, but that's been working for me. And I guess that's a little bit of reframing too.
It is. It's a little bit of reframing and just trying to just gain a different perspective, you know, because a lot of times, you know, my favorite quote from Tom Petty.
Your quote that you're about to say has actually been helping me.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. From Tom Petty. It's on the Wildflower album. He says, I can't remember the song, but he says, most things I worry about never happen anyway.
Yep.
And that that's kind of a mantra for me. It's just when I'm in that like cycle where it's just like I can't get out of it. Just like, wait a minute, just take a step back and like, okay,
Yeah.
you're gonna be all right.
Yeah. There's like one thing that will ever happen that's going to kill you.
Right.
And worrying about every other fucking thing isn't going to help you.
It's
You know,
not helpful at all.
Yeah.
Even worrying about that one thing isn't all that helpful because it's
right.
just
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Exactly. Smoke cigarettes. You'll be fine. I was thinking of something that you had said earlier, and now I don't remember. It's fine. We don't have to dwell on this too much.
When I talk about that book on the Friday show, there's a lot to that story.
Oh, good. Okay, I look forward to that. That song, I put that song on that you're referring to. I forget the name.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I play it on I play it in my headphones and I play along to it with my saxophone. Dude, I was sounding like shit doing that with a handful of songs the other day.
Yeah.
And then the last song I put on was, do you know the song Italian Leather Sofa by Cake? It's the last song, or it's the second to last song.
Healthy Breasts That Bounce.
On this Italian leather
Yes,
sofa.
of course.
That solo at the end, that trumpet solo.
Oh yeah.
I played along with that on my saxophone.
No
it was
shit.
happening, and I was like, I was like, what am I? Wait, this is happening? This is happening? And then I was not convinced it was any good. I put it down. I was like, well, that's a good place to stop. And Natasha was on the phone with her friend, and her friend were like, hey, that was really good. I was like, oh, it sounded good in my ears because I had headphones in, but like you just heard the horn. Like
that's awesome, dude.
I don't know why
that's
I'm
really
telling
cool.
the whole podcast that, but that was cool. Hey, speaking of music, wait, no, that's too many skips ahead. Where are we? Okay, Body Parts song. You know what? We don't need that. It's fine.
Okay.
It was an 80s like kids song where they go through the different body parts and sing and they talk about the Angus, and it's just like, it's weird you sing that to kids. You know what? Here's good comic relief. We're getting a little heavy. Here's Chris Pratt and canceled who's the director? James Gunn. So in Guardians, when Chris Pratt's character dies and they like carry the body, that's a 35-pound replica, like real doll of Chris Pratt.
Oh, weird.
And they're talking about that.
Is not really Chris Pratt. Right. They built a body and it weighed 35 pounds. So
and it looks exactly like
it's
me.
Really
it's
creepy.
Very eerie.
Yeah.
And James now has it in his office.
I had it in my office for a long time, and people would come in and scream.
What in it and scream?
They'd come in and scream. What? Because when it's sitting on its back,
they would do what?
Come in. What'd you say? They come in and scream.
Oh, come in and scream.
Chris Pratt's a fucking child, man. One of the best outtakes from Parks and Recs, which, by the way, Rosa Parks and T-Rex. That's my favorite TV show, Parks and Recs. Sorry. One of the best outtakes from Parks and Recs was something about Kim Kardashian. They said a comeback story, and they're like, yeah, Kim Kardashian, and they were all confused. He's like, so she came on her back.
Yes, I remember that clip. Yes,
he gets the show. I feel like Chris Pratt would love the show.
I think so.
All right, let's get back to a little bit of serious before we get to the heavy stuff. This is Roman engineering. I find this fascinating.
The Romans developed a clever method for their aqueducts to allow impurities to settle during the water's journey.
I will say this is informative, but quite a curveball.
They occasionally use small settling pits strategically positioned at the bottom of the canal. In this way, sediments are easily deposited at the bottom of these shallow recesses due to the relatively slow speed of the water. Zigzags in the aqueducts help to slow the water down, which also help to remove impurities. Another method of reducing water velocity and avoiding damage, particularly on steep slopes, was to use drop shafts, sometimes in the form of a waterfall. Moreover, these drop shafts provide aeration of the flow, allowing the water to be reoxygenated. The aqueducts also expose the water to the air, improving the quality of the water. This was done using shafts, which were previously used for construction work and were later used for maintenance access.
Roman aqueducts.
The
Roman aqueducts are just fucking impressive.
Oh, they really are.
When you like, the overall slope of the aqueduct is like less than a foot over.
It's infinitesimal.
It's insane.
Yeah, just to be able to maintain that slope over the length of distance that they did, absolutely nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we could do a clip on that every week. We're not
We
gonna.
could.
Don't worry, guys. Okay, I got an interesting clip now, especially now that this guy follows us back. That's pretty fucking dope. This is the is it Cody Tucker? Yeah, Cody Tucker show. He's got more of these like interesting facts type stuff.
Oh yeah.
This is a story. I'm gonna say this is a story of a rock and roll succubus.
Smith was a drug-addicted Canadian.
Kathy Smith
Became friends with a fellow named Levon Helm. Levon Helm would go on to join the band. Old Levon ends up writing their most famous song, The Wait, about Kathy Smith. They all end up having a falling out. Kathy Smith ends up meeting another musician named Gordon Lightfoot. This, surprising enough, ends up going downhill, and Gordon Lightfoot ends up writing his most famous song, Sundown.
Is that sundown? You better take care. If I find you walking around my back stairs, that's got to be sundown, right?
That's got to be it. Yeah,
it's like Alabama, but okay.
About Kathy Smith. She ends up moving to
talk about cheating. That's about saying if you show up at my back door, I'm going to kill you. If you're cheating, if you're fucking my wife, basically, right?
Essentially, yes.
You fuck my wife. You fuck my wife. That's from Harold and Kumar, the first one. Nobody knows that.
Nope.
that was the main the guy from Law and Order SVU. Remember the boily face guy in okay, let me settle down.
Something about Mary?
No, in the character Freak Show in the first Harold and Kumar.
Oh, right.
And he's like, "You fuck my wife? You fuck my wife?" It's like, "Yeah, you said I could."
The old hillbilly guy.
Yes, that's the male character in Law and Order SVU.
Oh, that's wild.
It is wild.
Dude, his
to
wife was
LA,
wild.
hanging with the band again. They go on to perform for Saturday.
Hold on. I interrupted too long. So she was a groupie or a friend with the band with Levon Helm. They had a falling out. She started hanging out with Gordon Lightfoot. He wrote his song about her. Then she became friends with the band again, and she was hanging out with them while they were doing an episode of Saturday Night Live.
Not Live, where she meets John Belushi. On March 5th, 1982, Kathy gets a call from John Belushi, asking to come over to his place. John Belushi has a guest already at his place who said that he was very creeped out by Kathy Smith, so he leaves. That guest was Robin Williams. Kathy then proceeds to inject John Belushi with a heroin cocaine mixture that kills John Belushi. Kathy Smith was a drug-addicted Canadian.
I think I just wanted to stop at that part again. Sorry.
That's wild.
Oh, I don't think if I knew it, I forgot it. I didn't know that Robin Williams was with him the night that he died.
I didn't
feel
know
like
that
would
either.
That would fuck you up, man. Like,
yeah. I mean, Williams had a lot of reasons to be fucked up, but that would certainly add to the pile, I imagine.
Yep. Okay, Alan sent this in to me. I'm gonna hit play on this, and I will play it until you tell us to stop. It's gonna take me a second to find the explosion scene.
Okay.
So I'll find the explosion button, and until then,
beautiful. The feds came in and they found my top secret docs on the bathroom floor. On top of this, now they got me indicted for dabbling in election fraud. I had tried to keep them back from what they were about to see.
We have to play it till at least Putin responds.
I was about to say that. I hate the Trump part. The Putin part's pretty good.
Yes.
By the way, this song is on like credit card fraud commercials modern day right now. Like they forgot the entire message of this. This is a fucking parody song. Like it was only popular because we were at a time in America where we're like, oh, these Jamaicans talk funny. They do the weird music. And it was like we wouldn't call that novelty music, but if anybody else sang a song like this, you'd be like, it wasn't me. Yeah, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. Yeah, I was cheating on you and I gaslit you to your face. That's what this song's about. And it's a smash to this day. So much that Discover is like, yeah, we should put that on our credit card commercial. People will trust us.
How can
I fucking hate this song? I've always hated this song. The only song worse than this is the one where he says, "Girl, I want to make you sweat." That's like the only one that brings up worse imagery.
I get away with it when they don't take hush money?
Why you give them Bimber clouds access to your villa? I listen to a pro cause you act like a beginner. Got to be a postmodern relative truth spinner. Let's review the situation that you caught up in. To be a dictator, now you got to dictate. If they say an I convince them say a day. Never admit to a word that they say. And if they claim it, you tell them, baby, no way.
Undermined an election.
It wasn't me.
You know what's funny when you said it?
Elderly abuse. Come on.
God damn it. When you mentioned the whole like Jamaican thing,
yeah,
Putin kind of sounds like Snow.
Snow?
Yeah, do you remember Snow?
Yes. Boom, boom, down.
Yes. Which is the whitest fucking dude of all time.
Wait, in that song, he sounded like Snow?
Yes.
Or when he
kinda.
talks normally?
No, in that song, he sounds
I'm
like
going to think it from now on whenever he's talking. Informa. Fuck, man. You know, I get Snow and Falco confused.
Falco.
Motherfucking Falco. Ooh, rock me, Amadeus.
Oh,
ooh, rock me, Amadeus. Let me start this over. I should find my, oh my God. Oh, it's right here. I'm going to find out. Did you know that pyramids were racist, Alan?
Oh, dude, I was not aware.
I was listening to the Skeptic's Guide to the Galaxy, Skeptic's Guide to the Universe.
Oh, they're always telling us about stuff that's racist.
Well, one person on the show is always insisting that it's racist. And I don't mean to be that guy that's like, the woman is the worst part of the show. I love.
Is water racist? Oh, I don't think you're presenting it.
Oh, sorry.
Responding to a lot of these, and it always seems like the answer is, well, the aliens must have done it, right? It's like
so racist.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It is very racist because
Yeah.
Oh my God, is water racist?
And then they go on to say, like, nobody ever says that about the Colosseum. They only say it about the pyramids, the things that have no fucking evidence of how they made it. Like, we know how the Colosseum was made. That's why we don't wonder about it. Like, first of all, it was made 10,000 years later, probably. Like, you're talking about something made before we had any understanding that there was this kind of construction ability. And then they're like, oh, we knew that they had levers. We knew that they had this. Like, so fuck off. Like, we didn't until a week ago know that there was a tributary of the Nile that brought water there that fills in all the gaps that it takes. I think it's stupid to think that aliens did it too. I think that's like a punt when you're like, well, we don't know aliens did it. We always joke about that, but like, it's not fucking racist. It's ignorant, which they're cousins, but like, it's not racist. God. Everything has to be racist. And again, like I said, we called everybody Hitler, and then Putin used that to invade Ukraine. So calm the fuck down.
Indeed. I've talked about this YouTuber before, Mini Minute Man. He just came out with another episode, like a debunking episode. He's a archaeologist by training.
Cool. Like Indiana Jones?
Yeah, sort of. Anyways, he's done a bunch of debunking videos, like the Graham Hancock stuff.
The more I realize, I got duped by Graham Hancock.
But it was compelling.
Graham Hancock stuff that is interesting, but
it was compelling.
Does he talk about the purses where it's like, it's a purse? It must be like they're talking about seeds. It's clearly a water bucket because you can't make 3 dimensions on the 2-dimensional. Right. Is that what he says about that?
He has said that. That's not this video. This video is about a TikToker that he's taking.
I still think that Graham Hancock's overall point of, like, if you look at the erosion, it's proved. I think that his take on the erosion in the Younger Dryas era of the northeastern U.S. is pretty compelling.
If you want to see a critical look at
that specifically,
any of the Graham Hancock stuff, but he does cover that as well. He has a whole series about it.
Okay.
And he's not like, I mean, he can be a little sarcastic, but he's
not like excited to shit on Graham Hancock.
Just like trying to dunk on people, and he actually, and even like at the end of this last one where he's kind of shitting all over this TikToker for the whole video. At the end of it, he's like, "Look, dude, clearly you can communicate, and you have an audience. You have 1.5 million followers for a reason. Like, I just wish you used your platform for good and not for spreading this bullshit. Like, there's all kinds of interesting things you could talk about in all these places that you're spreading misinformation about, saying there's fucking giants there, shit like that." Mini Minute Man.
Graham Hancock gets into that too. It's like, come on.
Sure. Now, Mini Minute Man, dude, I recommended it highly. Good.
Mini M-I-N-I?
M-I-N-I Minute Man. Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. It sounds like someone with a short dick that can't fuck for very long, but okay.
He's from the East Coast, like Rhode Island. I'm not sure what that refers to, but I'm sure it's some sort of thing.
Well,
over there.
Minuteman. Is he short? Okay, it doesn't matter.
He is
short.
Minuteman.
Okay. Well, that must be what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into.
Isn't that something?
I think we're doing great on time. We're doing great.
Nice.
That's kind of a lot longer than I thought, actually. House prices. We talk about house prices and how in the 90s there was high inflation or higher inflation than what we're used to, and higher interest rates, right? Yes. So this one he's talking about, Boomer saying in 1980, Slickett sent this in 1980, they had 13% interest rates. Stop complaining. obviously there's more to that, and this guy articulates that well.
Boomers had 13% interest rates in the 80s. We should be grateful that our interest rate's only 7.5%. Well, we got to run the numbers, because in 1980, the median household income was $22,000. The median house price was only $47,000. The house price was just double the salary. And if you put down a 20% down payment and closing costs, it was only $11,000, which is half the yearly salary. So yes, you had a 13% interest rate, but because the house price was so small, your monthly payment with property taxes and homeowner insurance was only $485 a month, which is only 26% of your gross income. But fast forward to today in 2024, the median household income is...
You don't even have to hear the other half of this.
Nope.
It's like, yeah.
You could already do the math.
Yeah. And good point, right? Because, but also, like, who the fuck's he talking to, right? Like, not
Yeah, I
us,
suppose.
like, we all know, like, yeah,
Right.
I get it. Like, the boomers aren't watching this video.
No. But I mean, the whole point is you pay the interest on the amount of the loan, and if the loan's only, X percent of your income, then it's not that big of a deal.
Exactly.
To be 13%.
Yeah. And it comes down to, I guess, the value of property and the
value of property has risen far beyond the value,
and it's become more scarce too in the meantime.
Yeah, and
it is a finite resource.
Yeah, so property values have gone this way, and your salary hasn't really even,
and then inflation.
the line hasn't. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, I have a cool inspirational story about Jesse Owens.
Oh, okay.
This is one of the most famous photos ever taken. Jesse Owens standing on the podium, having won one of his 4 gold medals at the 1936.
I was supposed to ask Natasha if he's Australian or not. I think he's Australian.
Okay.
Sorry, that is important to me.
Berlin Olympics in front of Hitler. Next to him in...
Says Hitler with a little too much excitement, right? In front of
too much Hitler.
Silver position, Lutz Long, the German, doing the Nazi salute. Both men had broken the Olympic record repeatedly before Owens jumped just over 8 meters for the win.
8 meters.
An athlete of special courage. He put his arms around her, and we walked down.
Long was the first to congratulate Owens. They posed together, they became friends, they walked arm in arm around the stadium, and Owens said it took a lot of courage for him to befriend me in front of Hitler. And he said it was the start of a 24-carat friendship. That friendship endured. Long joined the German army during World War II, and he wrote to Owens from North Africa, "I am here, Jesse, where it seems there is only the dry sand and the wet blood. I do not fear so much for myself, my friend Jesse. I fear for my woman who is at home and my young son Carl, who has never really known his father. My heart tells me that this is the last letter I shall ever write. If it is, I ask you to do something. It is something so very important to me. It is that you go to Germany when this war is done. Someday, find my son Carl and tell him about his father. Tell him, Jesse, what times were like when we were not separated by war. I am saying, tell him how things can be between men on this earth." Long was mortally wounded in Sicily on the 10th of July 1943, dying a few days later. He was 30. In 1951, Jesse Owens did return to Germany, found Long's son Carl, and when Carl got married, Owens was the best man. And they even recreated the famous picture of Owens and Carl's dad. And their families are still friends to this day.
Isn't that something?
I watched this video while I was like on Instagram pretty heavily after Trump's guilty verdict. And at the time, just because I run the show page, I'm fielding a lot of people from the right that misunderstand anything we say that is not like pro left wing, as we must be right wingers, just berating me, calling me a fascist, saying you want to hold water for fascists, which by the way confused me until today when I found out that Trump's first speech was to say that people are carrying water for the fascists. So I was like, oh, something exactly like what he said. So good to know that I'm not talking to a real person. I'm talking to someone that parrots
some talking points from
yeah. But anyways, this video was such a great break from that tension. I cried the first time I saw this. I was like, fuck, man. Oh, eyes are all wet. What the hell?
Nice.
Yeah. That's a great story, man.
It is a great story.
Yeah.
Butch, it was really important to your father that you have this watch. I carried this uncomfortable hunk of metal up my ass for years.
Vietnam. Wait, no, that was it?
I can't remember. I think it was Korea.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of war, let's talk about Russia a little bit, okay? All right. So I got a couple Russia clips because Russia is backed up in the ante, and they're of course manipulating the reality of the situation to make it look like everybody except them is the aggressor. So let's talk about this. I think a good place to start is habitual line stepper.
Het is dit.
All of you in the West must understand how dangerous of a decision you have made by letting Ukraine use your weapons in Russian territory.
I want to talk to you about what you think about the decision to allow them to do that. We've talked about it a little bit on Friday, but
yeah,
after this.
Okay.
So you're saying? I am saying that nuclear weapons are now on the table. And that is now 5 times you have mentioned nukes this year. I just want a free coffee. I'm heading to Aerial Resupply. You want anything? Aerial Resupply coffee. Stay caffeinated. Did you just use my threat of nuclear war to sell coffee? Capitalism, man. We sell whatever, whenever, however. By the way, you need some body bags? You may want to sell those to Ukraine. You're having them bag up your troops for you? Incompetent and lazy. Hold on, I got something else for you. You're going to love it. Excuse me 1 second. Egypt. Why in the fuck are there like 200 trucks full of aid that you will not allow over your border into Gaza? It is not my fault. It is his fault. No, it is not. I have not told
That's Palestine.
Egypt that they can't send
no, that's Israel. Excuse me.
Israel.
anything this way. I don't care whose fault it is. Just fucking solve it. Get the stuff in there. These protests are getting out of hand. They actually blocked a pride parade, which I did not see that one coming.
Now I don't have to play that clip.
The college students in the
you see that shit, like where where there was like a guy in like a leather daddy outfit blocking the pride parade. I was like, wait, hold on,
which side are you on?
All right.
Yeah.
America who are protesting are on the right side of history and should never give in to Zionism.
Is Iran?
Iran, how do you feel about the gays? Oh, they.
All right. We don't have to. I actually find that argument. I got me and Toaster's great. He doesn't like get his back pushed up against the wall. He says things in a group chat. I fucking love that about him, right?
Yeah.
Also, my understanding is his back up against the wall, you're the one that's in trouble. Dude's fucking jacked. So anyway, he holds his own in the group chat, even if he has an unpopular opinion there. And it's because we're so tolerant there. I think that we're like, well, what do you mean by that? So Way's always pushing that shit though. Way's always like, oh, well, how about these gay people go to Iran and see how the rooftops feel? It's like, dude, calm down. Like, and I kind of get bored by that because it's like, people can be multifaceted. Somebody can say, I would hate the way they would treat me there, but I still sympathize with the people that are being oppressed. Like, I don't think that that's difficult to jump through. Although it's still a point, right? Like all you people that are making these statements are like, and then the Ayatollah comes out and he's like, hey, protesters, I love what you were doing. And it's like, well, of course you would. You love student protest movements. That's how the whole revolution started in Iran. I'm off on like 3 tangents. I think it's fine stopping that video there. That's
no, I think it's fine. Let's talk about the weapons though. So, so we talked about it a little bit last week. So the U.S. has finally sort of taken the gloves off a little bit on what Ukraine can do.
Very
with the
specifically.
Weapons. Yes, on what they can do with the weapons that we provide them. And I feel like this has happened throughout the last over 2 years of this war, where
going back to even the buildup, it's like, hey, they're putting 200,000 troops on the border with Ukraine. Surely they're not going to do that. That would be insane. Why on earth, to this day, why on earth would you invade Ukraine? Like it's. Just...
But our intel services knew that was happening. We called it out. But I feel like we kept slow walking what we would provide Ukraine. Like, oh, we'll give you mortars, but we're not going to give you F-16s. We'll give you this, but not that. We won't give you tanks.
Challenger tanks were a big deal, right? Bradleys were a big deal, right?
Right.
And every time along the way, it was threats of nuclear war, right?
Right. And then eventually we would cross the line and nothing would happen. And the reality of the situation,
because that isn't an appropriate response.
No,
like, it isn't like,
of course not.
The whole world because you gave them challenges.
Of course not. But the reality of the situation is Russia is firing on Ukraine from their side of the line. So why shouldn't Ukraine be able to do it?
They're literally acting like, hey, you don't have the ability to hit me, therefore I should be able to hit you. It's like, well, if someone gives them something to hit you with, they should be able to hit you back. We shouldn't.
This isn't hide and seek with a safe zone, dude. Like you can't just touch the tree and be.
Look, I get it. Like I'm going to say something very wrong in terms of like military strategy, but I need someone to correct me on this. Like I don't understand this. Give them the weapons, and don't tell them how to use it, and that's how you keep your hands clean. If you start telling them how to use it, now all of a sudden your stipulations draw you into it. You could say, hey, Russia, not involved in this, but I don't like that they can't fight back in this. I feel like it'd be more fair if we gave them these weapons. I don't know what they're going to do with it. Oh, wow. You're saying the range of that goes into Russia? Well, you should definitely stay out of range of that.
Also, you guys started the war,
Yes.
so and this is, I think
Yeah,
people
no.
miss or forget this point is that this is a land war in Europe, the
No.
first one in a while, and we're talking about ceding territory to Russia and Europe, and like, what? How is that on any level acceptable? Like, I don't know. And part of me wants this to be settled and just be like, okay,
Of course,
Donbass is
right?
gone,
Like, if we could
Crimea is,
stop right now with the
yeah,
existing
let's just do it.
territory,
Yeah,
sure.
but
And then since
also,
there's no contested territories in
right,
Ukraine, they could join NATO. Like,
right,
yeah.
right.
So when
But
Cody was on here, you'll hear it next week on the show. One of his big points was this is all subtle play by Putin because as long as there's contested territories, you can't join NATO.
you can't join
So
NATO
he's
if
like,
they're at
here,
war.
contested territory. Now I don't have to worry about NATO on my border. It's not about winning Ukraine. It's about
Right.
having conflict in a potential NATO country.
So I don't know if you have the. I don't think you do have. The
I
CNN
do. I have a clip that I want to play. That's Putin's statement. It's so anti-war radio. Can I play this next clip and will
Well,
you
just
kind of
before the
yeah?
CNN clip that you sent me earlier.
Talk about that.
So he talks about how essentially taking the gloves off Ukraine, allowing them to attack behind enemy lines in Russia, is a huge game changer because essentially they can take out all their supply lines, their fuel, their ammunition, their their mortars, their ability to move people around. And once they do that, then they can no longer support these front lines that have been holding for so long because they're so dug in. But if they don't have resupply, they're fucked. It might take a while.
Russia doesn't.
Yes.
So
So
Russia's
it might
dug in and like relatively secure until this.
as long as they're able to resupply them, which they have been able to because Ukraine wasn't allowed to attack any of these resupply
But if you
areas.
think about it, they've extended their supply lines,
Right.
to the extent that with these new weapons, they now Ukraine is able to interrupt those supply lines. Okay,
Yes.
go
And
on.
so they can't reinforce those frontline troops that have been dug in for over a year now. And so now you could see the tide start to turn.
Well, and now once you've like segmented that, Ukraine is
Right.
starting to decimate those isolated
Yeah,
packets.
and they're
And
winning. It's like a 6-to-1 ratio of as far as Russian troops dying to Ukrainians right now.
and it's just like everything else. It's fine until it's just not anymore.
Yep.
And that could be how this turns. It's probably not. It's probably not how this war is going to turn. But for a moment,
Yeah.
it's feeling like maybe, and that's what's getting Russia to say shit like this. So let me just play this clip without setup from antiwar.com. This is Dave DeCamp. Again, like my whole life felt like I was an anti-war person, and then I started listening to antiwar.com, and apparently the anti-war position is we should just let the people that start the wars win them, and that's called anti-war. Like,
That's no.
I know, and it's like, fuck, man. Like, I don't want to lose my cred in this. I thought I was anti-war, but like, yeah, I guess I want to supply the war machine because I don't want the person that started a fight to get away with it.
We don't want
I don't
bullies
feel like
to win.
that's pro
That's not-
war.
Yeah, that's. I agree.
All right, let me play this.
Oh, it's not a.
None of it's playing.
The U.S. gave Ukraine the green light to use its weapons to hit Russian territory. At this time, we saw some European countries, I believe it was Sweden and the UK, saying that they would let Ukraine do it. So Putin's warning seemed to be aimed at them, but he was kind of asking, how would the U.S. respond if there were serious consequences for these other countries?
The thing that I didn't clip in here because it was like 3 minutes long of rambling is Putin said Putin's not Putin, but somebody representing Russia said that the U.S. has made a fatal mistake, which is bold language.
It was Medvedev, I think.
It wasn't. It was the other guy.
Oh, okay.
So it was when Medvedev says it, you just go, okay, Tucker.
Right.
But like, this is like someone above that, but below
Okay.
Peskov.
Below, okay.
Peskov? No. Who's the foreign minister?
Not Shoigu.
Peskov's the aluminum king, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So what is he hinting at there that the serious consequences are? Maybe some sort of strikes. So I'll just read the Putin quote. He said, quote, "This constant escalation can lead to serious consequences. If these serious consequences occur in Europe, how will the U.S. behave, bearing in mind our parity in the field of strategic weapons?"
First of all.
Yeah, the line stepper might have something to say about that.
Oh man, I've just started a podcast before we did this. It was about the Russian space race and how like it was just a miracle that Sputnik even worked. And it like just lit. They had and I know this is the USSR, it's not the same as the Russian Federation. And that's fair to distinguish. But there was a point where during the Gemini program, we were like, the US announced that we were going to send a capsule up with 2 astronauts in it. So Khrushchev goes to the head of the space administration in Russia and says, I want us to send 3 guys up. And he's like, we only have something that can do 1. I could maybe do that like in a year. We'd have to get a new rocket. We'd have to he's like, no, I needed this in a matter of months. And this guy survived Stalin, so he knows how to not say no.
He knows that, yeah.
So he goes back to his guys, and they're all like, we can't do that. And he's like, no, Khrushchev wants that. So they said yes. So they pulled out all the safety gear. They took away their space suits and made them wear like business suits or something. And they crammed 3 short ass Russians into the 1-man capsule just so that they could. Like, anyway, when he says parody, I laugh at that.
Europe? How will the U.S. behave, bearing in mind our parity in the field of strategic weapons? Hard to say. Do they want a global conflict? End quote. And right.
Yeah. I'm good there.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. So he goes on to say after this that and if you look, I like Dave DeCamp. I like antiwar.com. Like, I am shitting on them and I do it almost every week. And sorry, I don't come on here and play the clips that I like. Right. But he was like, people forget, but all this large infrastructure attacks in Ukraine all came after they hit the Crimean Bridge. It's like, all of it? Really? It's
No.
I remember quite a bit of barrage around February of 22. I guess that was after the. Yeah.
Remember the nuclear power plant?
Yeah, right. It's just cherry picking, right? Like,
it
bugs me,
Yeah.
And by the way, if you listen to our show in February of 22, you heard me saying there's no way Russia's going to do this. They have nothing to gain from this. And so, but what's changed? We've learned from them showing us with their actions. So now I know you do these things that don't make sense, right? Like, but like,
and now I know you're going to rattle that saber and not actually unsheath it.
Yeah, it sounded like I was making an argument for the nuke stuff, but yeah, exactly. Like I know at the end of the day, because and I don't want to live in the world where we're wrong, and I wouldn't say that like a sliver of territory in Ukraine is worth finding out about that, but at the same time, he is. This gets said a lot, especially here on our show. He has proven that he only responds to strength. He doesn't attack unless he feels like he has the ability to get away with it. And their calculation before this fight was their opponent won't be able to hit them back. Well, you made a wrong decision, or when you made that decision, you thought it would be worthwhile to do it anyways, right? And all we're showing them now is why you shouldn't make that type of calculation, that decision. Now, in a normal world, 2.5 years ago, we called what I just described, we called that deterrence. That was a word.
Yes, it was a word throughout the Cold War. I think the thing we don't want to forget either here is that Putin has a lot of plates to keep spinning. He is a dictator, an authoritarian dictator in a country that ain't doing all that well. He's pursued a war that
really
significant, but there is a percentage of that population that's not happy about it as well. There are people who have family members across the border in Ukraine that are Russian, etc. Right? These people have been intermingling for generations. So he has to maintain his power as a dictator, as an authoritarian dictator, and that means certain things he has to do. He also is a very wealthy person. He's made a shit ton of money on all these backroom deals, and he has interest in keeping that money there, preserving
that on the planet,
preserving that wealth. So it's not like this is happening in a vacuum. So I think we have to remember that too. He might not be playing by the rules all the time, but there are consequences that he understands and doesn't want to deal with.
I'm finding parallels to Trump, but I think that's too easy.
Yeah, I can see it.
Let's let's move into elections. Is that okay?
Okay.
I don't not have anything to say to what you just said. I feel like
No,
you
we're
said
good.
it well enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the setup for this? This is border stuff. I'm sure it'll come up on the Friday show because I'm sure there's headlines about the border, but I don't see the headlines anymore. Let's briefly talk about this. Let's not spend too much time on
asylum seekers.
So news came out this morning. There was rumors about it over the weekend that Biden was working on implementing some border restrictions via executive order. And my initial thought on this was fucking bullshit. Like the whole reason that an election choice between Trump and Biden on this subject seemed better under Biden was because Trump made his decisions about this subject with presidential decree, and it's something that should be handled through our legislators. Force them to fucking deal with it.
And
Now,
also, Trump single-handedly stopped our legislature from dealing with it.
that's happened during Biden's administration, but I'm talking about when
I understand.
Trump was king, he was like, I'm going to stop the immigration at the border, and we'll round them all up, we'll put them in cages, we'll separate the families, all that problem, right?
Right.
And yeah, the stuff happened under Biden that was similar. I mean, Obama that was similar. That's fine. That is worthwhile, but I'm not going to get diverted in the subject. So I also. People do that to me all the time. They're like, one of the arguments about Trump, they were like, what about this thing Trump, God damn it. What about this thing Obama did with campaign finance? I was like, you're not going to win an argument with me saying this other president should have been impeached or prosecuted. Like,
you're on record as saying they all should be. Yes.
And do it to Biden. Like, if the rule is you can't do it while they're in office, do it in 4 years of Biden. I don't fucking care what happens to him after he's out. Like, I don't like these people. Like, I found that not getting diverted from this subject. So I didn't like hearing that Biden was going to end up using the same method that Trump did to resolve this issue. I think that's something that needs to go through Congress. Now, to Alan's point, a few months ago, something got put through Congress by Republicans that ended up being a bipartisan bill, but it was started with Republicans.
Yes.
And Trump put a squash to it because he wanted it to be resolved while he was potentially.
He wanted to run on it as an issue in the 2024 election.
So now Biden wants to mitigate that. So Biden is making a presidential decree against it. And I don't like that. I will say, having heard some of the details of it, they're not going to get into it in this clip, so it's worth getting this out here. I've been talking. Do you want to say what you're going to say? I won't forget.
Yeah. So I would just say, and this is going to sound probably a little partisan, and that's fine. I think the difference here is that when Biden is doing it, he's doing it as a method of last resort, having attempted to go through the legislature. That was
whereas Trump used it as like a build a wall and all that.
And here's the thing, and sort of cynical political side of this is that Trump made the decision to say, no, stop the bipartisan legislation. I want to run on that as an issue in the presidential election. So if you guys solve it,
used that first, and then when it didn't work.
Yes. And so Biden was not willing to just stand by and do nothing. If the legislature wasn't going to do anything, he said, fuck it, I'll do something. I realize how partisan that sounds.
I hate fucking agreeing with you on this. So and the other thing that made it more palatable for me was that it's not just like we're shutting down the border like when Trump did it. It's if we have, I think it's like 3 days of a certain number of migrants flooding the border, we will shut the border down. And then when we get back to another number that we're okay with, we'll open it back up.
I believe they're also sending more people.
But because don't you remember, that was the whole problem under Trump's method was it was just, we're shutting this down. And then when Biden got elected, it sent the signal that Trump's thing that had no end date would be over under the new president. So people started flooding across. So he's cutting that off with this method of addressing it. It's a good.
I believe they're also sending in additional people to triage sort of people.
Which is the whole fucking point. Like there aren't enough people to be able to handle it.
Right.
Okay, let me play the clip so now I will play the clip about why I don't like it from the Reason Roundtable, the libertarian podcast where 4 editors from Reason Magazine talk about current events.
Yeah, this is going to basically result in a lot more people being turned away very, very quickly at our border if it goes through. He's already, we have some evidence that he's already sort of trying to clear the rolls of asylum seekers. The New York Post casts this as Biden lets hundreds of thousands of asylum seekers go free, unwatched in the United States. I would cast it as Biden leaves tens of thousands of asylum seekers in an even worse legal limbo than they were in before. They are now no longer in the case system at all, but still don't have the ability to obtain work permits, for example, here in the country. So I would say this is pretty important. Biden is currently making a hash of the lives of many, many people who would like to come here seeking asylum. He seems to be doing it largely for political gain, which he will almost certainly not realize because
that's the thing. Nobody's like, you're not going to gain any points from this.
Definitely not. Definitely not. I mean, like literally right now, Pramila Jayapal is on CNN.
What words did you just say in order?
Jayapal, the congresswoman from Washington,
oh,
is on CNN saying Biden's border actions are a mistake. So he's going to get blowback from this for sure. I don't think he did it for political gain. I think he did it because he thought. I mean, obviously, there's no way for me to know that, but like, I think that as a practical
shit about supporting Israel properly or Palestinians properly once he gets reelected.
Right. As a practical matter, you know, he felt like he had to do something, I guess. I'm running out of steam.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I got some Trump clips.
Okay.
And then I think a little bit of editorializing, and we'll go to half. So let's start off with Trump. This is we did a lot of extra Trump coverage from his trial on our
Hidden
Track. Because of that, there's less of it in the show here. I think, you know, if you're not into that, you're probably saturated with it.
Sure.
So we're trying to do this for you. So we got a little bit in here. So here are 4 things about the Trump verdict that maybe you didn't know.
President Donald Trump has officially been found guilty in his hush money trial. Here's everything that means going forward. Number 1, Donald Trump can no longer become president of the United States. That's right. Trump is officially banned from the office of president for life. The only way he can become president now is if over half the country votes for him in something called the presidential election. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Number 2, he has to say sorry. This is a big one. Yeah, if you are convicted of a federal crime, the judge isn't so much mad that you did it, but that you lied about it. The only way Trump can see the return of privileges like iPad time, sleepover, and soda is if he goes to the judge and says, "Oh man, I'm real sorry." Number 3, he will turn yellow. Yeah, that's it. Trump is yellow now. Kind of like a scarlet letter type deal, but more of the yellow Trump. Number 4, he can still go to Disney World. Sorry, Disney lovers, but Donald Trump can still attend all major Disney parks. Except, of course, for Disneyland Paris. But that's not because of this. That's because one time at a princess breakfast, he threw up on an Ariel.
On an Ariel. Actually, Ariel. He didn't put the consonant at the end of it. You got to break up vowels when they're in order like that. Come on, it's common English. All right. I loved this. So I've rarely listened to the New York Times podcast anymore, but I did want to see what their perspective was on Trump's trial. This was the first time I've heard it. Maybe you've heard this since then, but he is going to have a probation officer. Like, that's crazy. Now, you might not know what that entails. I think I can say this. Yeah, I can say it because it's about urinating in public. So I don't think my boss will really care if he hears it. Boss, hey, hold on, just really quick. Mike, I lived in Detroit for a few years, and one time I was downtown by the stadium, and I was in between the parking lot. It's not like in the parking lot next to the stadium. He's like, you park, a few blocks away and walk in.
Sure.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Mike. And I drank a bunch of beers in the parking lot, and before we made it to the stadium, I had to pee. It was opening day, so all the bars were crammed. I couldn't get inside. I was like gonna piss my pants. I went down an alley. I don't know if you know this about me, Mike. I have a shy bladder. I found a spot between 2 dumpsters, and I peed into a Home Depot bucket that already had something in it. And a cop drove by and saw me down the alley, and he gave me a ticket for that and my friend a ticket for an open container. He got away with his ticket. They forgave that or whatever. I got a ticket for urinating public. I was so lucky. If it happened in Oakland County instead of Warren County, I would have probably been registered as a sex offender because you're exposing yourself. And but because of that, I had to have an interview with a probation officer. So me and Trump have a lot in common. This is a lot going on in here. So Trump is going to have an interview with a probation officer. Let's have the New York Times talk about that, and then we'll come back to
legal issues and his campaign.
Right.
And here's another example of it.
Is it normal for sentencing to
be delayed this long. July is a month and change away.
It's extremely normal because in New York, what happens before sentencing is you get something called a probation report. You meet with the probation office of New York.
Trump is going to go into the probation office in New York.
They will probably come to him, I would imagine, given Secret Service concerns.
I had to go to some dingy-ass room in downtown Detroit off Jefferson Street.
But Trump will meet with a probation officer who will interview him and will provide a report recommending a certain sentence.
Those interviews are thorough. I left that room feeling like I wish I pushed back without sharing so much about my life, but I didn't know how I could have. First of all, I was like 24,
Right.
23. Like there is a file somewhere that knows that my parents divorced when I was like a year old, that my dad was an alcoholic and died when I was 22. What he did for a living, like how I processed that. They ask you it's like a psychological evaluation,
right?
Like they ask you everything they can, and their purpose is to establish your level of understanding of the crime and your remorse for it as well, as what kind of a threat you are to the community.
Right.
And whether or not it will be okay for a certain level of sentencing. And then they give that recommendation to the judge. Now, I've made this very personal about me. Can you imagine that with Donald Trump? What will you be doing for what? And so what is it that you do for a living? I'm running for president. Oh, I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are. Okay. And he's going to have to check in with them. Like when that happened to me, I had a trip going to Cancun and I didn't tell my probation officer I went to Cancun. I had a great time in Cancun, but I was coming through customs on the way back. I was like, they're going to scan my fucking passport and they're going to find out that I didn't clear it with my probation officer. And it's going to ruin the rest of my life. I don't think he's going to have to worry about any of that, but
yeah, I don't think so either. But also, as a convicted felon with a probation officer, you're not supposed to
associate with felons.
Associate with felons, which might be problematic for one Donald Trump. Also, you're supposed to tell them, as you said, about anytime you're going to travel, and obviously, campaigning for president requires some travel. So yeah, this is going to be quite the little quinky dink.
There's no way that doesn't get leaked.
I would,
dude. It's going to get assigned to a probation officer. It's not going to be given to the best probation officer in all of New York.
Random dude.
It's going to drop on someone's desk, and that guy is going to interview Donald Trump in a manner that he could write a fucking book for. And
he's going to shuffle in his $200 suit while Trump walks in his $10,000 suit, and he's going
to control his life for that day.
Yep.
It's fucking insane, man.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild.
All right. Speaking about people who have been compelled to show up for things, they dragged Merrick Garland in front of Capitol Hill today.
The power of Christ compels him.
About something. Do you know why he was there?
Yeah, because of the tapes, the Biden tapes from the interview that they want released, and the Justice Department has said they won't release, even though they've already released the transcripts. We've talked about it before.
Thanks for setting that up.
Yeah,
All I have as a note is a pedophile asked the attorney general. Move your fucking cursor, Alan. A pedophile asked the attorney general, and then he got a response for that. And then he used his very normal response to imply that he was withholding evidence. You know what? I'll play it here. Said pedophile is Matt Gaetz.
Comes alongside false claims that a jury verdict in a state trial brought by a local district attorney.
Okay, context here is a lot of people keep talking about this fucking trial that Trump was guilty in as if it was a federal trial. And he's saying, people are like, oh, well, it's because Trump's saying it. So Trump puts it out there that, Joe Biden's DOJ, first of all, this started in 2018. This started, if it was directed by the DOJ, it was Trump's DOJ. It wasn't by the DOJ.
It wasn't.
By the state.
It was Cy Vance at the time, and then it was, and then Bragg.
Now, hair model and teenage sex enthusiast Matt Gaetz is asking him questions like, well, what if your DOJ was sending messages to them? It's like, again, in 2018,
was somehow controlled by the Justice Department. That conspiracy theory is an attack on the judicial process itself.
Attorney General, you've told us that it's a dangerous conspiracy theory to allege that the Department of Justice is communicating with these state and local prosecutions against Trump. You can clear it all up for us right now. Will the Department of Justice provide to the committee all documents, all correspondence between the department and Alvin Bragg's office and Fonnie Willis's office? And
would you describe what he just asked for as an easy request to grant or a very difficult thing to, like, if you're promising to give all correspondences, is that an easy thing to do? Or would that take a lot of effort to gather?
A lot of effort. Anytime.
So because of that, is there like a process that you go through to get that? Okay. Okay.
Letitia James's office.
The offices you're referring to are independent offices of state.
I get that. I get that. The question is whether or not you will provide all of your documents and correspondence. That's the question. I don't need a history lesson.
Well,
not a history lesson.
I'm going to say again, we do not control those offices. They make their own
The question is whether you
decisions.
communicate with them, not whether you control them. Do you communicate with them, and will you provide those communications?
You make a request, we'll refer it to our Office of Legislative Affairs.
But see, here's the thing.
Right. So his answer is, if you make the request, it'll go through the bureaucratic process,
the channels,
which is very fucking annoying. Like, I agree. Like, we live in a bloated bureaucracy, and I fucking hate that too. But what it certainly isn't is him saying, well, I won't do that, and you'll never get an answer to this. But he took him saying, sure, there's a method of getting that answer, and we'll comply with that. And then so he takes that and misinterprets it as, or no, not misinterprets it.
He spins
willfully misframes it.
Yes.
You come in here and you lodge this attack that it's a conspiracy theory.
How is it an attack to say you guys are attacking? Here's the reality.
That there is coordinated lawfare against Trump. And then when we say, fine, just give us the documents, give us the correspondence, and then if it's a conspiracy theory, that will be evident. But when you say, well, we'll take your request, and then we'll sort of work it through the DOJ's accommodation process, then you're actually advancing the very...
I feel like this is the way he talks to teenagers when he convinces them to have sex with them.
God. Dangerous conspiracy theory that you're concerned about.
I don't want to hear the rest of it. Jerry Nadler goes on to be like, well, I commend you for being here, sir, and it is not fair that this man treats you. I'm not listening to that. But...
Can we just say fuck Matt Gaetz? I think we can move
Yeah,
on.
well, I'm not 17, so I wouldn't fuck Matt Gaetz. But here's a little bit more from, I mean, since we're on the subject, here is someone who should not be talking about people with a sex scandal. Swalwell, isn't Swalwell the guy that was dating that fucking honeypot from China?
General,
this is Swalwell.
Last week it was reported that House Ethics Panel subpoenas DOJ for Gates records. It was a May 14, 2024 political piece. I'd like to submit it to the record with unanimous consent.
Without objection.
I just want to get this straight. Mr. Gates wants the Attorney General to reopen and publicize evidence from an investigation that a Donald Trump-appointed prosecutor closed against President Biden.
The first time I heard this, I felt like I was distracted because I thought we were attacking Gates, but he's bringing up other things. So what he's talking about is the fact that Donald Trump put, what was the guy's name?
The special prosecutor.
Special prosecutor to investigate
Biden's
Biden.
classified documents. Stuff.
Yeah. And that came back with, pretty scathing report that was, in our opinion, probably misinterpreted, but sure.
It was the one where he said that he was an old man.
Tottering old man.
Yeah.
He wouldn't dare prosecute. Yeah. And then, once that settled down and people kind of got a picture of it as like, okay, well, this is a man answering that question. There really isn't anything too bad in that. They're like, well, we need the tapes. And they're like, well, here's the transcripts. It's like, shit, those words look pretty good. We need the tapes. Like, right? Like, that's what he's talking about, right? But he's saying, so this guy who has his own scandal is requesting that we bring up other old shit about this guy. Well, I bring up that we should get the transcripts from his.
While at the same time, Mr. Gates himself is being protected by the same DOJ policy that is refusing to voluntarily turn over evidence from Mr. Gates's sex trafficking investigation.
With a 17-year-old.
Oh, that's gotta hurt! That he flew across state lines.
Yeah,
there's also reporting in the Times today that apparently Congress has a new sort of expense reporting thing that doesn't require receipts anymore. And Gates had the most expenses of any member of Congress. It was like,
I would imagine fucking 17-year-olds is expensive. On
probably.
Venmo, right?
It's like $30,000 or something in just like hotel rooms and food.
No.
Yeah.
And he just puts the emoji down on the receipt line on the Venmo, right?
You don't have to have a receipt. You just say, I spent this much here.
How do they get away with that? Yeah, you don't get to do that on your taxes, and these people are in charge of shit.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Wait, how are you telling me? Explain that one more time.
Okay, so I don't know when this happened, but Congress enacted a new form of expense reporting, wherein if you're
Don't they have aides to make sure that they actually account properly? Like, I don't have an assistant to make sure I do this shit right. They do.
Yeah, one would
Fucking be
think.
detailed. Oh, it makes me mad.
So if
Well, we
you're
voted on it and we decided we don't have to have receipts.
if you're doing official duties of a congressperson, you have to stay over in DC to interview somebody about the Biden tapes. Then you stay at the Biltmore or wherever, and then you just expense it, and you don't have to provide a receipt because we trust you. You're an upstanding
That's an IOU.
congressperson.
That's as good as mine.
Yeah.
Jesus. All right. What do I have here? What's this called? This is okay. So after the Big Mike, Big Mike Little Johnson is talking about how he doesn't think that the guilty verdict is going to stand because he thinks it'll get to the Supreme Court, which again would require you getting through the state system
appellate court
and getting this appealed directly to the Supreme Court sometime before November. Like, it's just so implausible. And again, like, the hard threshold was convincing 12 people to agree to this. Like, people that would objectively look at the facts on this as legal experts would be like, well, evidence, shit, you shouldn't have committed crimes with people that can prove that you did them. Like, that's the lesson from this, right? Like, if you're going to be a criminal, don't have Hope Hicks and Michael Cohen and David Pecker, around to like say later on that, we had that.
Oh, yes, we did that. Yeah.
Anyway, here's Mike Johnson talking about how, well, I'll let him say it.
It's not up.
But he's a leading presidential candidate. The voters should know what's going to happen here. So what do you see playing out in the legal system?
Well, there's a lot of developments yet to come, but I do think, I do believe the Supreme Court should step in. Obviously, this is totally unprecedented, and it's dangerous to our system. I mean, we've all discussed this before, and you all talk about it all the time. This is diminishing the American people's faith in our system of justice itself. And to maintain a republic, you have to have that. People have to believe that justice is fair, that there's equal justice under law. They don't see that right now. And I
like
think
no one's above the law?
On the court. Wait. Just while you're about to hear this, just picture this is a man that watches porn with his son.
They don't see that right now. And I think that the justices on the court, I know many of them personally, I think they're deeply concerned about that as we are. So I think they'll set
I know many of them personally.
I bet you do, Big Mike. I bet you do.
He had to walk that back. He had to walk that back. Yeah, he had to walk that back because that's like saying, hey, I know these judges. They're not like you.
We hang out at cocktail parties.
He's talking about the appearance of injustice. And he's like, by the way, I'm the Speaker of the House. I'm third in line of the president. I seem to have a vested interest in the decision of this. I know these guys. It's like,
I'm sure they care about it. Yeah.
And then
this third branch of government that's supposed to be
his clarification was, when I said I know them personally, I meant like I know what their opinions are on this. It's like, well, so do we all, Mike. We all know their opinions on this. See flags. All right. Couple of thoughts. What if the Supreme Court gave their immunity opinion on this? So the Supreme Court any day now, maybe before this comes out, is due to decide whether or not Trump
has presidential immunity. That's
just
exempts
blanket
him from
immunity for life, basically, right?
Yeah.
What if they made that decision while the jury was still deliberating? They could have. It's during the time period where they released decisions while the case was going on. That would have been like, it would have been pretty tough to be one of the jurors and be like, well, I've heard he's immune to everything, so why are we even doing this? Imagine being in like a debate with 12 Angry Men style, and someone's like, yeah, but this doesn't matter, it's moot. Like, you might cave, right? This could have been all different if they announced that earlier, because they're going to say yes to the immunity. They are.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
And we know that the reason that they're not saying it yet is because they want to push it until the election. They don't want any of these cases.
Well, I was going to ask you, is there any update on this?
No.
I've heard they ran a few ideas up the flagpole.
Which ideas is that?
It's a flagpole joke.
They did run a couple things with a flagpole.
There
This
we
is
go.
true.
There we
They
go. It's a
did. They
buzzword
did.
right joke. He did it better. All right. So I thought this. So they're back to being informative. Okay.
Okay.
Here's a clip from the Lawfare podcast with Roger Parlov, talking about what the timeline would be as soon as they get their act together and decide whether they can move forward with the documents case, with the January 6th case. I think it was, what is this? Is this the January 6th case?
Yes,
The
Jack
DC
Smith
trial.
case.
Yeah. So as soon as they get clearance, whether he's allowed to be prosecuted for crimes, here's the timeline.
This case go forward, what does the math look like for getting a trial in Washington together?
Yeah, the most implausibly optimistic scenario, as you say, if the Supreme Court basically says, never mind, DC Circuit got it right, then jury selection could start August 26th with a very quick jury selection. The trial could start September 9th. The jury might get the case and start deliberating October 21st, 6 weeks later. Maybe you'd get a verdict October 24th, and that would leave 12 days before the election, November 5th. If you change any of those variables in a way that is less rosy for the government, then the scenario gets less rosy for the government.
So
it's interesting just to know that there is a plausible timeline. And when you don't see a decision on this for several more weeks, probably the last decision they released before they're done with this session, because that's the decision. They can do this whenever they want, right?
Yep, whenever they want.
And the reason they're not going to do it in any sort of a timely manner is because of everything you just heard there.
They want to drag their feet. And I've said this on the show many times. I'll say it one more time here, is that the Supreme Court does understand what's happening around them. And if you want to look at a Supreme Court who acted because it was what they thought was at the best interest of the American public, you can look at Bush Gore. They acted quickly. They acted in, maybe a way I wouldn't have preferred, but they stepped in and said, look, we need to decide on this. We need to do it now. I think the turnaround on that was like a couple of days.
You know what? You've said this before and I didn't understand you that way. Yeah, exactly. I hated the outcome of that.
So did I. But just understand there's precedent for the Supreme Court being able to understand the immensity of a moment and step up and do their job.
They exist for a purpose, and it's not for a politician or a party. It's for the American people.
Right. And they're choosing deliberately not to do so now in a moment of immense tension. And they know that. There's just no way they don't.
There's probably going to be 3 or 4 more times in this fucking show where I'm going to come back to, hey, let's still talk about the effects of this. And it's the first time a president's been convicted of a crime before.
Right. Well, when Big Mike says this is unprecedented, yeah, it's unprecedented because we've never had a president do this shit before.
Exactly.
That's why it's unprecedented.
So there's been a lot of talk. So prior to the guilty verdict, there was estimations that it would cost Trump like 2% in the polls. And people are like, it's just 2%. It's like, dude, 2% would have swayed 2016. It's massive.
Yes.
Yeah. People polled after the guilty verdict in a morning console poll. 15% of Republican voters said sorry, let me give you these stats and I'll tell you what they're saying. 15% of Republican voters, 8% of Trump supporters, and 49% of independents, which is the majority, think that Trump should drop out. So let's say all those drop down from 49, 8, and 15 to 2. That's still massive, as you said. That is huge information. That is a major signal, right?
It's major. I guess the only caveat is it matters where those people are. So there's really
as we all know, the 8% of Trump supporters are people that aren't allowed to vote. So his biggest demographic when polled, the New York Times had to come out and admit it. They were like, yeah, all of our polling data has included just whether or not they would likely vote for Trump, not whether or not they are actually
eligible
or do vote.
Right.
Yeah. Those people don't have to vote for Joe Biden, though. That's the thing that people are like, well, no one's going to just vote for Joe Biden that feels that way. No, they might decide not to vote or vote for RFK. And that's the same thing. Undecided voters, when polled, a majority of undecided voters say that they're voting for Biden. But when they're asked, this is a weird dichotomy. I want to put this out there. So it's a small population, so maybe this doesn't mean a lot. But when they polled undecided voters, a majority of them said, I don't like him, but I'll probably vote for Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
That same group of people said, who do you think will win, though? They said probably Trump. What does that tell you?
That they think the political system is broken and it doesn't matter what they do.
I think that they're influenced by that loud minority of MAGA people that are out there screaming as loud as just obnoxiously and
Yeah, I could definitely. I think that plays a part, but I also think there is cynicism there. Where first of all, to be
I mean, if you're like me and you're an independent, it's because you're like, fuck all of this. Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you're an undecided voter at this point, given the options, that says something. And then to say, well, I'll probably vote for this guy, but I don't think he's going to win, is also a very cynical outlook on the entire.
That matches up. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
You see, Trump got bought off and he's on TikTok now.
I did not see that.
He's on TikTok. And last time we talked about this subject, he was courting one of the creators of TikTok for lots of money for his campaign. So
one of the huge shareholders, yes.
Yeah. I'll leave you with a thought on this sent in by Loadmaster, and then a little going to half question.
Okay.
Loadmaster sent this in the group chat, and I was like, I'm putting this in the show. They should lock Trump and Biden. Slow down. They should lock Trump and Biden in the same room at a nursing home, tell them they're both president, and make it a reality TV show. It'd be significantly cheaper than having two fully staffed Secret Service details. And one of them's great at TV. Like
they just pass each other in the hall, pushing their fucking IV around.
Just put brainworms in charge,
right? That's hilarious.
As we got this far into the show, we've hardly talked about it. It's Pride Month. Happy Pride.
Oh, happy Pride. Yes.
One brand that never does the whole performative Pride Month?
Who?
Just for Men. I'm going to go get a beer.
Okay.
Talk to you later. Oh, fun.
Oh, yeah.
I'll talk to you in a couple of minutes after I refresh my beverage. Damn it.
This is the B-side of our platter, sports fans. And I'm singing just for you, covered in sequins.
In the canyons of your mind, I will wander through your brain to the ventricles of your heart, my dear. I'm in love with you again. Cross the mountains of your chest, I will stick a Union Jack to the forest of your cheek, through the holes in your string band.
Sorry, that took me a minute. Natasha just got back from Vacation Bible School.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So we got to say hi. She's like, "Are you done?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "But you started at 6." I'm like, "We do a pre-show now." I don't know if we're going to be as heavy in the second half. I got a lot of stuff in the second half, but that first half was long. Do you think people care?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
It was
Big
good.
show's only once a week, right? I mean, people.
it was good.
There's segments so that people can watch. Listeners, can you tell me to not be anxious about this, or give me criticism if you want me to be better at it? All right. We are coming back from half. I think I have a question to ask you.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, this is from Mo's Memes on Instagram, and you should follow him. And then tell him if you don't like what he has to say. I like following him. Trump could do the funniest thing possible right now. He has an opportunity. And
What's
you know
that?
me, I always like whenever it's the funniest thing possible, right? Like when RFK started running, I was like, "Oh, CIA, do it, do it." He could find a way to kill himself in prison. Everybody would be calling it deep state and it'd trigger a civil war.
He could pull an Epstein, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
That
right.
meme is so good. I hate to be that unoriginal, but love is finishing each other's sentences.
That is very good.
They are buddies. They're island boys.
In
Okay.
a way, yes.
Let's do a little bit of cult reaction. We're in the Trump cult segment of new listeners. We used to do in the second half, we'd start off with the best of the left, best of the right, but then the right fractured, and there's MAGA and the former GOP. So we do a little bit where we pick on MAGA, and then we pick on the right, and then we pick on the left, and then we do culture wars. Sometimes it's indistinguishable. Here is the reaction from the cult to the guilty verdict.
Motherfuckers! Piece of shit! The judge is a piece of shit! The judge is a piece of shit!
They just killed our country. You just fucking let them.
Bragg is a piece of
pussy
shit!
motherfucker.
We're all owned by the...
You know what? I'm good.
Yeah, I think we're good.
I don't need that drama.
That was enough.
Okay, so this is a Jon Stewart heavy episode if you include the pre-show. I think I have one more Jon Stewart clip in the culture war segment.
Okay.
But like I said in the pre-show, in the secret track, a lot of me and Alan's like formative political and entertainment when we were baby DJs, it was it was the Daily Show and the Craig Kilborn and Jon Stewart style of like it's not both sidesing shit. It's like all of y'all. We're making fun of all of y'all. South Park in it, sort of,
Right.
So I mean, he's a huge influence on us. I don't know that I would tune into 5 days a week of Jon Stewart doing the Daily Show. In fact, I don't tune into 1 day a week of him doing the Daily Show. But when I saw a few clips pop up from him being on your mom's, or not your mom's house, the Two Bears One Cave podcast, and him doing this week of the Daily Show, I think these fit our show really well. So this is similar to the MAGA cult reaction and him commentating on that. And we'll pause it.
I'd rather have Donald Trump as a dictator for 4 years. Absolutely. This country needs a dictator. I hate to say that, but it's the truth.
He could stand on the front steps of the White House and commit murder, and I'm with him.
If he says it, then I'll go with it. And if he wants to be a dictator, then so be it.
This is it. The Thomas Nast cartoon. Patriots festooned in American flags, co-signing dictatorship. Remember We the People?
Problem is nobody knows what the fuck the Thomas Nast cartoon means. Like, it's just like, yeah, they slept through civics.
No, there's more words after that, right? Smaller font, still binding. Look, if you want to love Trump, love him. Go to the rallies, buy the sneakers. You want to give him
Dude, I'll never get over the fact that he sold shoes.
I think the Bible's one is actually
No, the Bible's one. He's always been a phony in that way. It didn't surprise. I mean, it's outrageous. You're right, especially like on the level of like literally combining church and state. It's the Bible. It's also the Declaration of Independence and Constitution. It's like, no, not like that. But like he sold shoes.
Yeah.
He
And
sold
people bought
shoes
them.
to his uncool fans. Like they're like, oh, I love sneakers, right?
absolute power. You want him to be the leader uber alles. You want him to have the right of kings. You do you. But stop framing it as patriotism. Because the one thing you cannot say is that Donald Trump is following the tradition of the founders.
He's just by definition, not like opinion, right? Like,
yeah, by definition. And it's for you to sit there or stand there and say, if he wants to be a dictator, then I'm with him, and also have like an American flag on your shirt. Like
that time that he walked up to the American flag and hugged it for the photo op with that weird smile. Like, but no, wait, hold on. What he's referring to at the beginning of this clip is the quote is when fascism comes to America, it's going to come draped in the American flag.
Yes.
He is advocating for complete and total presidential immunity. His words, not mine. That is monarchy shit. And it's your right to support it. But just do me a favor for historical accuracy. Next time you want to dress up at the rallies, wear the right colored coats.
All right, I think we're good. There might be more to this. Yeah, have you seen this? Is there more after that?
I think we're good there. I think we're good there.
All right, good.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of how long the show's getting.
Yeah.
I can't believe that guy sold shoes, dude. Okay, this is, I got a couple of sloppy Don clips. I have a couple of clips that if Joe Biden did it, like Politico and the New York Times would write op-eds for the next 3 weeks about it. So I'm gonna do my best to. I'm gonna preview this. I'm gonna do the sales technique. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna tell you. He's gonna tell you, and then we'll tell you what he told you. Okay. Sloppy Don.
Got it.
Elections is people salacious. Now those words don't sound like they make sense.
No,
now
they
I say
don't.
it is elections is Joe Biden style, and you're like, what? People salacious. All right, now get ready.
Okay.
Bragg's people protested, and the judge knocked him out, said you can't testify. He actually said you can't testify for anything having to do with the trial. You can say what the federal elections is. Well, that doesn't help everybody.
You can say what the federal elections is, but that doesn't
help.
Now,
what?
I know what he means.
I don't.
Do you want to hear me Trump
Yes,
whisper this?
please explain. Yes.
So what he's saying, he doesn't deserve this, by the way. What he's saying is we wanted a federal elections expert to come in and testify. The prosecutor's side said no to that. They protested it and they was sustained, probably because it's not a federal, it's a state election law. It was a state election trial. Okay. All right. So that's what this means.
Okay.
He actually said you can't testify for anything having to do with the trial. You can say what the federal elections is. Well, that doesn't help. Everybody knows that.
If Biden said that, they would be like, okay.
But you can't testify. So essentially, he wasn't able to testify. Other people weren't able to testify.
That's honestly not my favorite part of this. The next part is salacious.
But with these people, they were able to use people salacious. By the way, and nothing ever happened.
They were able to use people salacious.
People salacious.
What? I know what he means. They were allowed to have a sex worker go up there and make claims about me. Yeah, Donald, it's because you denied it. You didn't have to deny it. They wouldn't have had to put her testimony down.
And because your lawyers,
if they insisted on putting that testimony down without you denying it. The whole reason, that's why your attorney recommended you don't deny that.
Your lawyers in their opening argument literally opened the door for the prosecutor to talk about that stuff, and the judge told you as much. Like when they tried.
Sure, you want to say this?
Yeah.
Again, the totally biased judge that didn't help you out at all was like, let me object for you really quick.
Right.
If you say this, they're going to do this. Oh, that's fine. Never met that woman before in my life. All right. What about this picture? Like,
what's his dick look like? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, come on. I'm tired of that. Oh, God. Remember when we all found out what Michael Jackson's dick looked like because some kid drew a picture?
I think I burned that out of my memory.
Did I need to do that? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't need to do that. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, okay. So this clip, we're on the sloppy Don clips. This is worse than the last one. So this one takes a little bit. You got to listen to the whole 45 seconds of this. In a speech, I think the timestamp might change if you're watching the video. Let me share this. twice in this rally, separated by a few minutes, not in this clip, right? In 45 seconds, you're going to hear him tell the same exact story, the same exact way twice. The second time, he does it in a way that isn't like, you heard me say this earlier. It's like, oh, by the way, this thing that you've never heard before that I've never said. And he tells the same thing twice. Did you see this?
No. I just see a poll just came out, the Daily Mail.
First of all, he's referring to a poll from the British tabloid, the Daily Mail, the National Enquirer, right?
Right, of the UK, yes.
Yeah. And he's going to say he's up 6 points. He's implying that he's up 6 points since the
verdict.
Since the verdict. No, he was up 6 points on Joe Biden in the British tabloid poll.
I just see a poll just came out, the Daily Mail.
Pay attention to the way he says this too, because he says it the same way both times.
I just see a poll just came out, the Daily Mail. That was the first one, came out, was done last night right after the verdict, where I'm up 6 points. 6 points from what we already were. We were leading fairly substantially. We're up 6 points in the Daily Mail poll. Now, maybe other polls come out and it says something differently. A poll just came out.
Now, just remember all the ways he said that. This is now 13 minutes later, 14 minutes later. That was 11:13. It's 11:27 now in the speech.
Came out. The first poll, I don't know, maybe others will be bad.
He just said it like that.
But a poll just came out a little while ago. The Daily Mail. Does anybody read the Daily Mail? It's very good.
Dude.
Good. They have a good poll. At least I like it today. And the Daily Mail just came out with a poll, and it has Trump up 6 points in the last 12 hours.
He's off his Spadoinkle or whatever Bob Cesca says. I don't like making these arguments because I don't really feel like I want to say like, oh, well, Joe Biden doesn't get treated fairly. Joe Biden gets treated exactly fairly when he does dumb shit in the media. But nothing happens when Biden does this shit. Like
when Trump does this shit.
What did I say? Oh, great point.
Trump...
God damn it.
I agree. I think that
I know words.
That's me.
He gets a pass for a lot of this stuff that certainly Biden
Magnified portion.
James completed a haiku so well. I was somebody had a post that was like, I feel so bad. I didn't sleep last night. I feel so bad for Donald. Magnified fortune.
That is great. I didn't know he was a poet.
You know what? Honestly, I think it was just a tip in. You know, we collaborate really well.
Sure.
Yeah. We got to get James on the show. I want to do episodes with all the guys that are in the group chat. And
that would be fun.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about music and stuff. I've threatened it a million times. I've never done it. Need to fucking schedule it. Also, if anybody else would like to, I put that on him. If anybody else would like to hit me up, I'd be happy to do it. We want to have more content for that. And then like it's an even more enriched sort of community, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's Sloppy Don.
I think if we do that, by the way, I'll broadcast it on Twitch.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was what I was going to say. That chick that returned the puzzle, she was like, yeah, you can come on our stream tonight. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm prepared to stream.
I'm not ready for that just yet.
I mean, I'm such a fucking boomer when it comes to that. I'm wearing my Oklahoma shirt that says boomer on the front.
I mean, I'd be down to do her stream, but maybe like, you know.
Should we wear masks so she doesn't know how old we are?
No. But I need to know more about her and what her thing is. Like, I'm not just going to walk in the room. So.
We could wing it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. That's our whole thing is we cross streams.
Yeah.
Don't cross streams. People love 1986 references. Whatever year Ghostbusters 1 came out. 83? I don't know.
Somewhere in there.
Let's move on. This was later on in that speech that I was just playing, he had said something along the lines of he just started rambling about immigration. So he announced that he was going to have a press conference at Trump Tower. So he held this press conference. Except it wasn't a press conference because one of the definitions of a press conference means there's questions from the press.
Yeah, from the
journalists. Hold any questions. There was no Q&A afterwards. So
he gave a speech to cameras.
Yep. Okay. In it, he started rambling about immigration. He said that illegals are coming to our country, being released from prisons and insane asylums. Yes. The famous Guatemalan insane asylums.
I mean, he said similar things immediately after his conviction.
Just like, I don't mean to be this much of a nitpicker, but like, yes, Oh, the people released out of, remember when Ronald Reagan released all the insane people from the Guatemalan insane asylums, and then they fled across the country to America? Like,
Yeah.
no, that's a thing here. That happened here in California. Like that was a Republican in the United States that did that. And don't you remember the deal was we're gonna take these people out of these institutions. We're gonna create community health programs.
Right.
Then they released them from the institutions, didn't create the community health programs, and now we have insane people living on the streets.
Yep.
Generations of that. Fucking great job, Reagan. That's how they always do it, right? They have a 2-stage thing and they don't do the second stage.
They don't
and
do- yeah.
like the first thing doesn't work.
They build the pedestal. Don't train the monkey.
Yep. Google monkeys and pedestals. That'll make sense if you're a new listener.
Yes.
All right. He said this too. This is in relation to climate change. I wouldn't worry about it.
When they say that the seas will rise over the next 400 years, 1/8 of an inch, which means basically.
They didn't say 1/8 of an inch over 400 years. Maybe per year, but I also don't think that's the number. But
a little more
No.
beachfront property, okay?
We stepped on it. Let's do it again.
Think of it. The seas are going to rise. When they say that the seas will rise over the next 400 years, 1/8 of an inch, which means basically you have a little more beachfront property, okay? Think of it.
Think of it, Alan. He's about to justify that statement. Can we actually think about it if he wants us to?
Sure. You don't have
crazy. I'm pretty sure there's already beachfront property.
Yes, there already is. There already is.
There won't be more. There'll be
more.
less and then new.
Yes.
Where there's already homes. Those people don't have beach. Those are just now beachfront. Nothing. No.
We didn't get more.
Like logically, nothing. No. Like
Donald, you cannot do that, Donald. No.
I will take.
No.
No, you cannot do that, Donald.
Literally just poked somewhere on the screen and happened to hit it.
Nice.
Let's hear what he had to say.
Seas are going to rise. Who knows? But this is the big threat. I watched Biden the other night. It's the greatest existential. He loves that word because it's a big word, and he thinks he knows. He doesn't even know what the hell the word means.
All right, I think I'm good. Don't we just have him?
I don't think he knows what the word means.
Salacious. People
Yeah.
salacious.
People salacious, man.
I will take electrocution.
Wait. Here's a big word.
Magnified fortune.
Like that. Or how about the time he tried to say his company that he owns, Truth Social?
I did such.
Damn it.
Truth, essential.
Yeah. He knows words. He knows words.
He totally knows words.
All right.
Even big words.
Yeah. Like
Magniforce.
existential.
Mhm.
I used that word earlier.
You did.
That was about anxiety, though. All right. All right. People in the Trump rallies think that Biden started the Ukraine war, and then they're like, "Okay, so how did Biden get Putin to invade Ukraine?" And they're like, "I don't know. He's
just
just
master manipulator.
yeah."
He's just master of puppets behind the scenes, bro.
Dude, I gotta play this. This is the biggest petty clip of the week, but I gotta play this. So now that he's guilty of things, he's like, yeah, I never said lock her up.
He famously said regarding Hillary Clinton, lock her up. You
This was the day after this is his interview after he was guilty.
declined to do that as president.
I beat her. It's easier when you win. And they all said lock her up. And I felt, and I could have done it, but I felt it would have been a terrible thing. And then this happened to me. And so I may feel differently about it. I can't tell you, I'm not sure I can answer the question. Hillary Clinton, I didn't say lock her up, but the people would all say lock her up, lock her up. Okay.
I'll tell you something, though, and it's very lock them up. You shouldn't lock them up. Lock up the Biden.
Listeners, this is 2020.
Lock up Hillary.
So crooked Hillary, crooked, you should lock her up, I'll tell you.
Well, Donald Trump is now a
Like this, they get dumb stuff. I put it back up on here. There's probably a better version of it, but you get the point, right?
We get the point. Yes.
Of course, we know he said lock her up. Like I remember in 2016 being on a vacation with like some family, and the like there's an elderly aunt there, and I needed to walk her up to her room, and I was like, I'm gonna go walk her up, and we all started chanting, "Walk her up, walk her up." It was hilarious. It was a fun time, you know.
I
Different
think
world.
you told me that story. That is hilarious.
It's worth retelling.
Mhm.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Hillary, within hours she had merchandise out that basically said like I was right all along.
Okay.
So I have a question for you, Alan. Was she?
About what? About which thing?
Yeah, about what? I know. It's like, about what? Like, you said Russia, bitch. Like,
by the way, why does she need to fundraise? Doesn't
I
she
don't
make it-
know. I don't know. Why does she have merch? Like, nobody wants. Imagine buying Hillary Clinton merch.
I think she has enough money. I would think.
Well, you know what? As long as we're talking about why on earth she would need to fundraise, maybe it would be, just hypothetically, so that she could run for president. Now, that's crazy, and I'm not entertaining that theory. But if I said that in 2017, would that have sounded crazy?
Mm,
No, come on. Now, she lost in 2016, but in
Right.
2017, would it have been crazy to think that she was going to run in 2020?
I would have thought so, but I think
Yeah,
you're
but come on, just like,
most
is it
people
out
probably
of the
wouldn't.
question
No,
to think
no,
that she was going to run, right?
no.
First of all, Joe Biden's looking for his second term, and he's like 2 decades older than her. I don't know if that's accurate, but like, she's younger than Biden, right?
Mhm.
So as long as we're talking about Donald Trump saying things like, "Oh, it's dangerous to prosecute a former president or a political rival,"
You're
right?
weaponizing the Department of
Right.
Justice.
Well, in 2017, Donald Trump appointed Jeff Beauregard Sessions. You don't forget a middle name like Beauregard when you're from Alabama, right? So the former AG of Alabama became the Attorney General of the United States under Donald Trump for like what, a year, right? Like, he lasted that position very, very briefly. But so Trump appointed Jeff Beauregard Sessions to investigate Hillary Clinton in 2017.
Right.
That investigation lasted until December of 2020, after the 2020 election. That, now, call me crazy, that sounds exactly like investigating your political rival.
It
Now,
does.
ask me when that was first ever done.
When was that first ever done, Justin?
That was the first time anybody ever did that. So don't act like there's fucking precedence that's being violated. And I'm not going to listen to Donald Trump and his fans talk about violating norms.
Mm.
He's like, I'll break all the rules, and that's why I like him. Whoa, what's Biden doing prosecuting someone for a crime that was obvious and presenting evidence that persuades 12 people 34 times to agree with it? I don't like that, and I think they're wrong for no other reason than my feelings.
Right. And Biden didn't do that. The DOJ had nothing to do with that.
I
know. I understand. I'm just saying, like, it's even more ridiculous than you make it. Like, it's even worse.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Yes.
And this investigation started in 2018 too, under his DOJ.
Yes.
All right.
And people resigned.
Also, if you're following that train of logic that Donald Trump is inviting us to use, then Joe Biden is weaponizing the Justice Department against his son Hunter, who is having like jury appointments for his gun charges.
Yes, his tax and gun charges.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I wanted to play this last week, but it felt a little gratuitous given the news that broke last Thursday. So for about 3 hours on Thursday, this was big news. And then there was bigger news. And I think everyone kind of forgot, but I also feel like this won't amount to shit, and they knew it to begin with. So they just swept it to the side. Do you remember how there was, ever since Trump won, there was allegations that there was a tape from when he was on The Apprentice saying the N-word?
Yeah, on The Apprentice, and also, wasn't it the guy that did Survivor was rumored to have?
No, he's the one that bought it.
Okay.
Yeah, Aaron Burnett.
Yes,
So Aaron Burnett's a huge friend, fan, whatever, of Trump, and he bought the tape allegedly, and no one will ever hear it. That's Aaron Burnett's relation to it. Aaron Burnett sounds like a woman's name. Maybe I'm thinking of someone else.
Aaron Burnett she's a CNN anchor, but it's.
Oh, I like her.
I do too.
Yeah.
Is it Jeff something?
It doesn't. Jeff Sessions, Alan. Jeff Beauregard Sessions. So this was noted investigative journalist Tom Arnold's big thing. Don't you remember Tom Arnold was getting to the bottom of the
noted
Trump tapes?
Sure, yes.
Yeah, until like 2018, I feel like there was always like people were like, if you talk to Tom Arnold, he was like, yeah, I'm gonna get to the bottom. I'm gonna get to the bottom of these, finding these Trump tapes. Dude,
back at Roseanne.
Rido did an interview with Tom Arnold that was amazing. You got to go find it. It's one of his earliest episodes. He's probably spent 5 minutes getting him to just say this: I'm Tom Arnold, and you're listening to Hunk with Mike Bridenstine.
I don't think I heard this.
So funny. And the clip that he uses as the intro is the one time it's good, and he goes, "Fucking nailed it." And because of that, whenever someone does a good one with me, I always say, "Fucking nailed it." Okay. Anyway, so Omarosa, who we only know about because she was a winner or runner-up of The Apprentice.
And then a short period of time served in the Trump administration.
That's right, because we live in a fucking
simulation.
Yes. All right. Let me just play the clip. I've set it up enough, right?
What you describe in your book is a year-long effort to learn the truth about a rumor that Donald Trump had been caught on tape using the N-word while working on The Apprentice. And here's how you wrote about
nuclear,
confirming with a source that the tape does in fact exist. Page 322 of your book. On this phone conversation, I was told exactly what Donald Trump said. Yes.
The context of it makes it more believable, but it's still just words. It's still just rumors.
The N-word and others in a classic Trump goes nuclear rant. And when he'd said them, during production, he was mic'd, and there's definitely an audio track. For over a year, I'd been so afraid of hearing the specifics from someone who'd been in the room. Hearing the truth freed me from that fear. Did you hear the tape?
Let's talk. So the way he says it is, I'm going to do a bad job. There's other clips that do this. You can find it. Where he's like, so it's a production. He's just mic'd. It's like a meeting, right?
Sure.
And they're talking about who the potential winners will be of the season. And one of them might have been a black guy. And he's like, are people okay with it being N-word? Which I got to admit, even in like 2003 is a little far-fetched for me.
Him saying that?
Yeah. Like imagine you're like, I don't know. I still just like, you know why?
Why?
Because he's a Yankee. Like if it's just some Southerner, I'd be like, yeah, probably said it. But like just some guy from New York, it just feels like.
Yeah, but I mean, we have evidence and stories.
I know there's a lot of white racist people in New York. I know that.
Well, no, not just that, but his father, I think his name is Fred. There's a lot of evidence of him being shady and like, because they owned a bunch of buildings, right? He was a real estate tycoon, just like Donald. And there's a lot of stories about him like refusing to rent to people of certain socioeconomic backgrounds and colors and ethnicities. So it's not like, so if the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, I don't.
But we're speculating, right?
Sure, of course we are. It's all speculation.
Until they fucking get that tape.
Sure.
You know what else is funny is this is getting attention because The Apprentice is getting attention. And the reason The Apprentice is getting attention is because they're making a movie about The Apprentice. And the reason that's getting attention is because Trump won't just let them make the movie. He's suing them because in the movie he talks. They address him cheating on his wife, and he's like, "Hey, don't talk about me cheating on my wife," very publicly telling them that. So he's suing them, which is only bringing attention to the fact that he cheated on his wife. And now they're like, "Oh, also remember that N-word thing? Yeah, we have proof of it. The guy that produced the Survivor, the original reality TV show, if you don't count." Road Rules and The Real World is squatting on it, basically, right? All right, I'm good with that.
I'm good with that. Yeah,
I think it's interesting that they're back on that. That almost fit down in Best of the Left. I only have one Best of the Left clip. I'm sorry, the checks keep coming in. You know?
I can't believe they're making a movie about The Apprentice, but also
I can't believe they have.
I know it's like fuck. God damn it.
There's $1 to be made. Now it's capitalism, baby. Let's get on to Best of the Right. Mommy Bobby was being let's see. Mommy Bobby was in a debate. So Mommy Bobert in Colorado has some competition for her because she changed districts and she thinks it's gonna be
she couldn't win the district she was in previously.
Yep. And Ken Buck likes to fuck, but he retired, so she's going to try to take his seat.
Right.
And the moderator, who's like a local Fox affiliate, clearly has some beef with her.
Okay.
And now here's a little bit of background because it's going to come up in the story and you'll question it. So it feels like he did some of the on-air reporting about her giving the handy at the Beetlejuice musical.
Okay.
And he just keeps pushing it.
Oh, as you do.
Theater thing?
Sure. So, Kyle, I certainly...
I want to hear it.
That was about the softest reference that he could have made, but you want to talk about the theater thing?
Sure. So, Kyle, I certainly...
She's in a room with 5 other guys. She's got to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Have owned out,
In her
owned up to my night out in Denver. And
That'll be the name of the video. My night out in Denver.
And, you know, I've gone on that public apology tour, and I'm grateful for the mercy and grace that has been shown, but I'm not going to continue.
Oh, that's like what I say about using the R word in the past.
To live life in shame and be beat up by this. And, you know,
Yeah,
I
don't
would like
slut
to
shame
go
her.
back to
We're
my
actually not
legislative record for just a second.
we're not going to do that. You had plenty of time to answer the question. You chose not to.
Sure.
That's fine. I just want to make sure.
I'll have more
And
time.
you have
Don't
apologized for the theater incident.
I certainly have.
And I just want to make sure. Did you apologize for the behavior that went on with you and your date, or the vaping, or did you apologize, or pardon me, or did you apologize for lying to voters about what you did that night and the disrespect that you showed to service workers that night?
Look, moderators get a lot of privilege, but this guy's pushing it, man.
He's definitely pushing.
He's like, I just want to be clear. Did you apologize for the hand job or being rude to the service employees?
What specifically were you apologizing?
I don't believe there was disrespect.
And she can't fucking handle it. This is why she doesn't deserve to be in this position. You should be charming. You should be able to pivot. Like, look, I don't like these moments, but I swear to God, I'd be better at this. Like, I just don't have, you know, good tits, I guess. Work on my tits.
There were things that were absolutely taken out of context.
There's video of your interactions with service workers. I'm asking,
right,
are you
well,
apologizing for the lying to
it's been reported
voters
that I flipped someone off, and I did not. So, I mean, I think it's been very mischaracterized. I'm apologizing for you, Kyle Clark, getting.
She's getting so personal.
Yep.
I gotta ask you, have you seen this?
No.
Yeah, I feel like this is like underreported.
Yes.
Like, the
This is
biggest, one of
huge.
the biggest culture warriors is being held to task by a local TV anchor moderating a primary debate.
And releasing that, and people seeing this in a very private moment.
Certainly, it was very.
So I paused that in the middle of it. She's like, I'm actually upset with you, Kyle Clark, for commentating and releasing private footage. You know, private closed circuit TV footage of me giving a hand job in a public venue. This is a very intimate act, and it's a very sensual, over the pants, respectful hand job. Okay, it was
you invaded my privacy,
first
Kyle.
date. Hey man, I'm not giving it out. I'm just doing an over the pants hand job in a theater.
Important to figure out whether you were telling the truth
you just had
or
an
whether a
interview
public
recently with
agency was
CityCast
lying about your conduct.
You just
Either
had
way was
an
very
interview with
important for
CityCast
folks
Denver,
to
and you
find
were
out.
saying how disgusting it
very
is
much. We're gonna
to
talk about
record
earmarks
someone
in
without their
Congress.
knowledge.
Let's talk about the use of
you did that
earmarks in
very
Congress.
same thing and released it.
I mean, that's better than like 99% of moderators you get on, like, you know, presidential debates.
Well, I know they just back down. The president, they say something that has like 1 million follow-ups, and they're like,
okay,
I won't say that you're lying. Like, I feel like I should, like, yeah.
He went in like 3 times on the same thing. Like, well,
You're not going to see that from CNN when they do the Trump
I am looking forward to that though, dude.
Are you?
Yes,
Well,
I
I'm
am.
looking forward to it too, but okay, tell me what you're looking forward to.
Just the way.
How many times they're going to address him as convicted felon? Dude,
Well,
if there's a drinking game for how many times Biden calls him a convicted felon, like, we're going to be on the floor.
Dude, we should make a bingo card. But no, just the way that they've set this debate up, like if they actually enforce the rules the way they said they will, it will be very, very interesting to see the way Trump deals with that environment, because I don't think he's built for that shit.
So talk about that. You're talking about how the moderator has the ability to turn the microphone off when. Okay, what else?
The moderator has the ability to turn the mic off. Also, they have a certain amount of time. There's no audience, so there's nobody to play to. There's nobody for him to get energy from in the crowd. So when he drops,
honestly, I feel like that's fair, but I feel like maybe I need to check my. I don't think I'm partisan, but like, am I? Like, I feel like that's fair.
I think it's just all right. So like, this is a weird analogy, but
Like the
if you
back
take
of a Volkswagen?
if you analogy, so if you take a great, I think we've done it on the show before, like a great singer, and you take away everything around them and just isolate the vocals, and you
Freddie
listen
Mercury.
to that, you can be like, oh, that's fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't think Trump has that in him, man. I don't like, without all the accoutrement, without the pump and circumstance. I don't know if he.
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't know.
Case in point, his rallies in the Bronx and New Jersey,
Right.
where like people are like,
People
this
walked out.
This sucks. Like he does great in Iowa,
Sure,
rural Pennsylvania. Yeah, Yeah.
He absolutely feeds off that crowd energy. So I don't know. I'm just curious to see how he he deals with that
Yeah.
environment.
No, no, well put.
It could be very entertaining.
You know what? I tend to agree with you, and I think that's what I'm feeling. But I also do feel like it is more fair
Yeah, I agree.
to like. It's not that you're taking away their strength. That's not a real strength.
Mm-mm.
That's populism in action.
And that's what's always so frustrating about debates is where moderators lose control of the debate and the crowd kind of takes over and one person just shouts everybody else down.
Petra's veto.
Yeah, it sucks. And oftentimes when you watch political debates, it ends up being like, well, I liked my guy. But I think this is actually going to be a really interesting.
No, I think you're right. Yeah, I think it
thing to watch.
does. I certainly wouldn't say anything favors Biden because he's 97 years old.
Right.
But I think it makes it a better representation of the two of them actually. If they're going to talk about issues, you're going to hear the issues more.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, at least that sounds more plausible. Okay, we've talked about that long enough. I got an interesting tape that the Georgia GOP district chair. So she's just a district within Georgia. So not the be all of Georgia, but certainly significant, when it comes down to a county, whether he won that state or not, right?
An elected official or an appointed
This is
official?
the district chair for the GOP.
Okay, so
I'm sure it's an appointed official. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Here she is. This is her statement.
We are the church.
She's having a friendly conversation. She's on home turf with someone talking about the reality as she sees it. Here.
We are the church and we run the state. Even if they don't believe it to be so, it is a fact. And if they keep pushing around with American people and they keep playing all these games, they're going to find out. How are they going to?
Now, I feel like that sounds like Christian nationalism. I know that gets used an awful lot, and it's the caption on the video. Maybe I've been to that thought. She starts off with, "We are the church and we are the state. If they want to keep pushing us, they're going to find out." I'm going to play that again just because I feel like it's sort of lost. And I'll pause it. We can talk, and then I want you to hear what the other party in the video says.
We are the church and we run the state. Even if they don't believe it to be so, it is a fact. And if they keep pushing around with American people and they keep playing all these games, they're going to find out.
This reminds me of that Christopher Hitchens clip from the hidden track that we played. It's like, I don't care if you feel that way.
Yeah.
Your religion part of this needs to be your thing that you can do with as many people as you want that agree with you. But when I tell you that I don't agree with you, you don't get to fucking impose that on me.
Yeah, you don't get to bring that to my schools, to my government, to my home.
And we wrote this down.
We did. That was actually.
We wrote it down because there would be a time in the future where somebody would feel different and have to be reminded that what is it? Government exists because the governed consent to the. What's the phrase?
Yes.
Right. Like I do not consent to this bullshit, and you're making it impossible to consent with you. Like, this is how people get all their jimmies in a muscle.
I bet she has one of those pine tree flags that Alito has at his vacation house. I'm sure she does.
Showing your partisanship, but that's fine.
How are they going to find out? How are they going to FAFO?
FAFO.
Extreme accountability.
I love it.
Okay. Would you like to elaborate on that, ma'am?
They do, but just in case they don't.
You're speaking my language. Extreme accountability means putting on trial the people that have committed these crimes against humanity, and upon a guilty conviction, they are executed on a national stage.
Oh.
I think that was pretty clear.
That escalated really quickly.
I don't care how. Firing squad, guillotine, hang from a length of rope until dead, shot in the brain, don't care how.
A lot.
Wow.
You weren't ready for that, were you?
I was not ready for that.
You were like, this is pretty extreme. And then it went just completely cat swiped the food off the table. Like,
holy shit, bro.
Yeah.
Like, not only do I want Christian nationalism, but fucking execute everybody who doesn't. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm getting some real like
the head of the GOP district in that district.
I'm getting some real like monarchy vibes, which is why we left.
It's like the whole reason, right?
The whole reason.
Don't you see why I played the whole Jon Stewart clip earlier? Like I didn't want to play. I don't want the show to be this long. Like, We're painting a
Wow.
tapestry here. You know, you step back and you look at the whole thing.
Right. Yeah, it's important to create all the parts of the picture. Holy fuck, dude. I mean, that's not even saying the quiet part out loud. That's like screaming it. Like
1000%. Speaking of people screaming things, what's that German word for when you
We're gonna beat these people.
What's that German word for when you take some joy in people suffering?
Oh,
it'll come to you.
Yeah.
We're gonna beat these people.
Schadenfreude?
Schadenfreude.
Yeah.
This is Alex Jones. This is him after he found out that he had to sell his ranch.
At the end of the day, we're gonna beat these people.
Actually, I'm gonna forget to say this. Did you hear Donald Trump had to sell one of his private jets?
No, I did not.
It wasn't the big one that he borrows from people and calls his own.
Oh, okay.
But it's one of the smaller private jets.
Yeah, it's fine.
Poor guy. He's got to pay his legal fees. He had to sell one of his private jets. He's so relatable. He's just like me. A guy I could have a beer with that doesn't drink. You know, when you have too many,
you can have a Big Mac with
one of your private jets.
Right.
I get it. I want to buy a new truck. I'm gonna have to sell my Mini. I don't want that.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. Natasha, don't listen to me. I don't mean that yet. Damn it. It's just gonna become a house of squirrels and mice. We'll drive the truck more. I don't want to. If you ever,
we're gonna beat these people.
listen to these crocodile tears.
End of the day, we're gonna beat these people. I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but it's been hard.
I don't think he's being sincere.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to sell meal prep kits or something.
I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but it's been a hard fight.
Oh, has it? When was it a hard fight? When you were slandering people who survived a horrific event where their children were murdered at school? Look, I don't hate Alex Jones for being a bombastic radio and TV personality. That's as American as man.
Sure.
That's as American as apple pie, right?
Yes.
I hate Alex Jones for convincing people that it was fake when children were killed by violence. I happen to be someone that right now has a gun, a drawer that I open that has this gun, and this gun in it. Each of those takes different bullets, and I bought a plenty of supply for each of them. I like them. I'm not anti-firearms. I'm not trying to spread the liberal lie about it. No, something fucking happened, and somebody who was insane committed violence. Now, if you don't like the consequences of people addressing that, and I'm avoiding having that conversation because I don't want to change the subject to that, it is worth having.
Well, but to your point,
you harassed those people and you sent your fucking minions after those people. Look, Bob Seska reported on this, and his dad had his house door knocked on by people sent by this fucking wacko. Like I shouldn't live in a world where someone I overlap with, I'm exaggerating to make it sound like we're as cool as them. I shouldn't live in a world where I can say, like, this person I know, his dad got harassed by you. That means you're affecting so many fucking people with your bullshit lie that you know you made up. It's not fake and you fucking know it.
And
the excuse they always use is he had a mental illness. Maybe he does things. He doesn't fucking believe that. Scumbag. Now, go sell your fucking meal prep kits and, prepping guides. I love that. I tuned into his show in like 2013 to see what it was about. And it was 3 commercial breaks in 30-minute segment to sell me the same meal prep kit from the last 10 minutes ago. Like, I was like, oh, this is a scam. I know radio. I grew up on radio. I know what this is. No, I hate you for the lie you spread that ruined people's lives about a real fucking tragedy and said it didn't exist. That pisses me off.
I mean, we're talking about people who had one of the worst imaginable tragedies occur in their lives.
No, it's the thing that you go, that doesn't happen statistically. Don't worry about it. It happened to them.
Having your child gunned down at school, a place that's supposed to be safe, and then you get this asshole saying
like that should have been the worst day of your life. Instead, it gets extended. I'm interrupting.
He says they're all crisis actors. He riles up his audience to go after these people. Many of these people had to move house multiple times because of the harassment. They had to go underground. I mean, this is all documented, and he kept pushing. He profited on it, and he kept
you had to
pushing.
sell your ranch that part of it was funded by the lie that we're talking about.
He pushed the narrative for a very long time, and then now, obviously, he comes out and it's a whole revisionist history. I never said that. It wasn't. It wasn't that big of a deal. Other people said it. I parroted it. No, but and to your point, it's very obvious what he's doing. And it has been if you watch him, it's really clear he's disingenuous. Like, he doesn't believe any of the bullshit he's spewing. He is filling time. He's being bombastic. He's doing what he knows will attract an audience. And he's been doing it for years and made a shit ton of money doing it. By the way, also now, so you talk about his meal prep stuff. He also does a lot of like vitamin supplement shit. He's moving all of that from his company to his father's company. His father owns a supplement company, and so now he's driving all that traffic over there. So that
it's
when
not
he
illegal to do that, like, fine. Like,
I know, but I'm sleazy
but
though. So now, if he claims bankruptcy and closes everything down, he still has that income stream. It's just under his dad's name.
I guarantee you, the people that had their lives ruined don't care about getting a check from Alex Jones.
No, but this is so clearly bullshit, dude.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
crocodile tears. Yeah,
yeah, and like you and me both listened to like fucking Rush Limbaugh back in the day. Like, we understand.
No, worse than that. Savage.
Oh,
Mike
you listen to
Savage.
Savage, yeah. Like,
he created the phrase "liberalism is a mental disorder." People say that to this day, and I'm like, okay, I know who I'm talking to.
I know where that comes from. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we understand riling up an audience and all of that bullshit. And it's just so obvious what he's doing to anybody who's paying attention.
Yep. And I appreciate you anchoring that back in like our
past. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've read Bill O'Reilly books and liked them. Yeah.
Sure.
Like, these people hate our children. Just take more calls. Go ahead. Who's the next person? At the end of the day, we're gonna beat these people.
I got to stop this one. Sorry, Alan. Stop this one. And I got to share this instead. Oh, did I close it? Man, that would have been cool. I don't know how to navigate. This can live in the soundboard.
Well, why don't you cry about it? Saddlebags?
All right. Well, that was a little anticlimactic because I'm not good at this, but thank you for joining us. All right.
That was nice.
Well, when the show goes long, that's why I apologize for that. I've been holding that button down so long.
Oof, you got a cramp.
I got to admit, I let my emotions get away from me there. Was I okay?
You're okay. Totally fine. There are reasons to.
People of speaking of performative individuals, so I believe this was a closed door hearing with Fauci. It was a closed door hearing from like January, and then it just got released this last week. So it's made the news. You don't pay a lot of attention to the right wing circles as much as I do. The big takeaway from this was Fauci admitted the 6-foot distance was made up. I'll play that in a minute. But Marjorie sees a camera and goes, "Oh, I can, stunt and keep my seat," where she runs unopposed. I almost didn't share this tab. By the way, follow david.heath.writer. He doesn't he doesn't spam you. He posts great videos with typically really good content, captions to back it up too. I really enjoy following David Heath Writer. This is my personal account. I wasn't following with that one. Okay, here we go.
Is it right for scientists and doctors getting paid by the American people, government taxpayer paychecks, to get patents where they're paid millions and hundreds of millions of dollars? And
so right away, I'm kind of on board, right? Like, that's how this works, right? Like, yeah, of course I don't like that. Fuck yeah, get them.
Royalty fees, especially when the NIH and these government agencies, most powerful agencies in our country, are recommending medical
the most powerful agencies in our country, the NIH.
Suggestions and advice, and making up guidelines like 6 feet distancing and masking of children. Do you think that's appropriate? Do the American people deserve to be abused like that, Mr. Fauci? Because you're not doctor, you're Mr. Fauci.
There it is. So remember a couple of weeks ago when she was like, when it got into that whole cat fight with her and what's her name that says don't
Crowley don't come for me. Don't come for me.
Yeah, she's like, okay, let's cause a fucking circus in this congressional hearing. She's like, I know how to do that.
My few minutes.
So her thing now is, I won't call you a doctor. Whole shit falls apart. Get ready.
No, I don't need your answer. I want to talk about this right here.
Mr. Chairman,
Him at the baseball game without a mask on.
I reclaim my
Mr.
time.
Objection.
I reclaim my time. I reclaim my time,
Let's just
Mr.
remind
Rapp.
people what this picture is, and I hate defending Fauci. It's a picture of an empty baseball section with him and the two other people he shared a car with to get there.
Right.
And the
In
fact
open
that he's
air.
outside without a mask on. Like,
Right.
hypocrite.
Gentlelady will
order.
suspend. Mr. Chairman, of order. Just in terms of the rules of decorum, are we allowed to deny that a doctor is a doctor just because we don't want him to be a doctor?
Yes, because in my time, that man does not deserve to have a license. As a matter of fact, it should be revoked, and he belongs in
Gentlelady will
prison.
suspend. The gentlelady should recognize the doctor as a doctor.
Unreasonable.
Mr. Chairman, is this what we have become?
Yes, it is.
Is this what we have devolved into? No decorum.
You know what? We can do
that guy
that
will
hearing about the poor men that were injected with syphilis because I support you in that.
They weren't injected with syphilis, you fucking retard. God damn it.
Jesus
They weren't
Christ.
injected with the treatment to it and allowed for the syphilis. She's trying to refer Tuskegee and she's too stupid to represent it properly.
Yeah.
I don't want
Because there is
to-
an argument to be made
They
there.
injected these guys. Not the point. Not the point. You fucking know it. And she doesn't know it. That's the point.
That's horrific. And this government that
I
does
would
things
urge
like that to
Miss-
Americans doesn't have decorum to the American
Mr.
people.
Chairman,
Gentleman is out of
point of regular order, please.
The gentleman is out of order.
Decorum.
I just hate the fact that she tried to draw it back to the best case of government being horrible. But the Tuskegee
fucked up.
experiment was about a local thing that was like guess what? Who shut that down? His coworkers. His coworkers were like, "Holy shit! I can't believe this has
can't
been
do
going
that.
on a lot."
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but anyways, like certainly wasn't the leader of the. I don't like defending Fauci. Okay. All right, he goes into a lot more of them arguing about how she doesn't want to call him a doctor. Here's another failed stunt from that same hearing. So this lady tries to raise the question again about like, did you guys make money off of patents? This is a failed culture warrior. This is someone that's not as good as it as Marjorie.
Conspiracy.
Appreciate that. Dr. Fauci, how much have you earned from royalties from pharmaceutical companies since the pandemic began in
Now, I think we might got him here, right?
2021?
Zero.
Well, he's
It
probably
says
lying.
NIH scientists made $710 million in royalties from
Yeah,
drug
what do you say about that then? Huh? You say zero? Well, scientists-
makers. You're saying that you did not receive any of the $710 million.
On COVID, I received, I think, $122 for a monoclonal antibody that I made 27 years ago.
Okay,
You can make more money on royalties from like a sitcom that never airs.
so just in general, though, how much have you
You'll make more money off Spotify streaming.
received?
By the way, when she
Not-
says it says, I think she's holding up a New York Post article.
Oh, that's great.
related to COVID, just in general, how much have you received in royalties between 2021 and 2023?
I think none.
Okay, so somebody received the $710 million.
Somebody did, but not me.
All right, so you got me there. I love bad culture warring. That is kind of fun.
Cultural war fails are pretty amusing. Yes, that's true.
So, okay, I will say this. So, the one thing that came out of this was Fauci admitted that they made up the 6-foot rule. Now, I hate doing this. God damn. Like the nuance shit is obnoxious, but like what that means is they were trying to come up with a good idea of how far apart people should be to not be contagious. And they just settled on 6 feet.
You know what that's called? It's called an educated guess. That's what that's called.
Yeah, it is. And okay, sure. And I've already reached my limit of
Fauci
defending
defense.
him. Yeah. Here is bomb note. So we like I said, I love obnoxious radio personalities. Here's John Ziegler, John Ziegler, friend of the show.
Oh, here we go.
Difficult to do. It was just made up. But why was it made up? And this is something I haven't even seen in the right-wing media in the discussions of this.
I actually want to pause this part. So he is the first person I've heard say, well, why was it made up? And now
The 6-foot rule is what he's talking about.
Yes.
Okay.
He's not going to get into any reason to defend his point. And I've listened to the whole show. He doesn't get to it. He's just doing his thing. So he's saying it was just made up. And why? Well, I'll tell you why. And just so you know, I haven't even heard the right-wing media go with this line. So this is a John Ziegler exclusive. Where from? Source? My brain.
Made up. And this is something I haven't even seen in the right-wing media in the discussions of this. The reason why 6 feet was used in schools was because it made it impossible to open schools. Because classrooms were not designed for students to have 6 feet between them and all other students at all times.
Okay.
Otherwise, you'd only be able to fit 10 kids in a classroom.
Okay, but why for that?
The entire system would break down.
Okay, but who's
so
behind
the
that?
teachers' unions knew this. So they embraced this because as long as you have 6 foot social distancing, then you can't have school for all intents and purposes.
Right. And as we all know, the teachers' union is even more powerful than the NIH. And the teachers' union are out there pulling the strings like the cartoons of the anti-Semitism. Like it's always the teachers' union behind
always the
everything.
teachers'
And if you'll remember, if the teachers' union don't have school, then they just get paid to be teachers for the rest of their life, but school gets canceled. Like what is this ultimate goal? Because you know what the teachers union's real goal is, to get paid but cancel school. What is
teachers
do you
don't
lose
want to
their job
be
next
in
year?
school.
Like do you mean not have a job anymore? Like
says, and so therefore this was to the benefit of the teachers union. Now I'm not saying that
you got to the bottom of it. So
You know what? That's checkmate right there. Clearly,
got him. Checkmate, libtard. Yep. All right. Oh, this is a real quick one. We're still on Best of the Right. This is remember when Joe Biden said his uncle was eaten by Papua New Guineans or whatever?
Yes.
Okay. So this was a have you seen this yet? This is from today.
I don't think so.
Awesome. I love that I bring these to you. So in Iowa, there was a press conference in Iowa, and Senator Joni Ernst, a Republican, was caught on hot mic saying, I'll play it and then I'll tell you what she says if you don't hear it.
Bottom line, never trust a man whose uncle was eaten by cannibals.
What did you hear, Alan?
Never trust a man whose uncle was eaten by cannibals. Good job.
Bottom line, never trust a man whose uncle was eaten by cannibals.
How is that a fucking lesson? Like what lesson? Like yes, the logical conclusion. If your uncle's ever eaten by cannibals, completely untrustworthy.
I've never heard this truism.
Oh, it's right up there. Never wear white after Labor Day.
Never start a land war in Asia.
Never eat cheese before noon.
Right.
Is that a one, or did I learn that from basketball?
I think you made that one up. Yeah.
I think it's from basketball. Start a land war in Asia. Yeah.
And never get in a battle of wits with a Sicilian.
But not when death is on the line.
Right. When death is on.
Yeah. Especially, well, what if one of them has 6 fingers on their left hand? I can't believe that's what Mandy Patinkin looks like now, though. Like I said it before, and I feel I'm going to do it anyways. Mandy Patinkin looks a lot like your dad. When your dad was younger, did he look like that dashing young Spaniard?
I mean, he
that
was pretty dashing,
swashbuckling. Like, you know what? I need to see the swashbuckling young Spaniard version of your dad.
I can.
Please do. And you know what? I should be so lucky. I hope someday I look just like your dad. This is not an insult. I'm just saying, look, Mandy Patinkin, he looks like a normal human being.
Right.
It just doesn't look like the same person from The Princess Bride. It looks like a different person. Like
age catches up with all of us.
Yes. Am I?
Yeah. No,
you're a bad job.
You're good.
I'm good. Are you sure?
Yeah, you're good.
He's our biggest fan.
He is a huge fan. Yes. Since day one.
Yep. So my only clip for Best of the Left is that clip from Best of the Right where I said I thought I put this in Best of the Left, where it was Omarosa saying Trump said the N-word. Sorry, I'm sure there was clips of Biden stepping on his dick. He wishes it was that long. You know what? I did see a video. The whole video was, look, Joe Biden. This was one of those left-wing accounts that are like saying like how great the Biden presidency is.
Sure.
And it was like, look, it's that same bike path in Delaware. And he's riding his bike.
Didn't fall down?
Upright the whole time.
Nice.
Totally normal.
Totally
Not
normal.
even like this is news. That's what I have.
I hope he got some choco chip ice cream.
Choco chip. What do I press for Culture Wars? Down here in the left corner.
Tucker.
I know. Where is it though? There it is.
It's another battle in the culture wars. Oh, not the culture wars.
No,
They're
culture
worried
war.
about a culture war. Culture wars. Stop with the culture wars.
All right. Second occurrence of it. Happy Pride, y'all. This one, oh God. I don't want to play this. POV, you came out as a straight to your liberal parents.
Okay.
Happy Pride! Mom, Dad, I told you I have a girlfriend.
It goes on for a long time. It's very funny, but I don't want to play the whole thing.
Yeah,
My favorite part is at the very end. They're giving the kid cake and he's refusing it. And the dad's like, fine, I'll eat it then. And she goes, no, it has gluten in it. That's the best joke in the whole video.
That's a good joke.
Because that's gay as fuck, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I have celiac disease. I have to drink potato-free vodka or whatever. I have to drink potato vodka. My mom. My mom's probably the gayest person I know. Moms are gay. Come on.
Hi, Mom.
She doesn't listen. I do have a clip coming up of Nick Fuentes saying that dating women is gay. So that's not the craziest thing you're going to hear in the culture wars. Okay. Happy Pride. Whatever happened to cultural appropriation? That's my note for this one.
Oh, okay.
So
I know this is an outdated term, but is cultural appropriation not a thing anymore?
So this guy's going up to, we don't have to play him. He's too snarky. It's not that funny. So he's just going up to people at Palestine rallies wearing the, I never know how to say, is it, I know kefir is the yogurt drink.
Yes.
But it's similar to the word for the checkered headband, right?
Yeah, I can't
Okay,
pull
don't
it
worry
either.
about it. We're
Yeah.
tragically Caucasian. You're
Sure.
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rican.
Yeah, only half though. Passable. Passable what, Dustin? Ooh. So like, but that's a good question. Like, don't you remember when it was like harassing people over Halloween costumes because you're appropriating some culture? Like, my culture is not your Halloween costume, until people dress up as Thor. And I'm like, hey, that's cool. I mean, I don't care, but you do. So like, I don't know why you're doing this. Like, you know,
Yeah,
by all means, cast a black Valkyrie. It's fine. I don't care. But I thought that's cultural appropriation when you switch that. So that's fine. I don't want to get into a stunt casting argument because it's a loser argument and you look petty. I'm just saying
it's not a good argument.
there is a logical point to that. You just don't need to make the biggest deal out of it because you know what? I was already born on third base, right?
There you
go. I will tell this story. So I grew up in the 90s, and when I was in high school, I felt like there were a lot of like, especially looking back at it, there was a lot of accepted racism, especially in like the cliques that you'd associate with. But I would always, it says a lot about my politics. I would always like during lunch, I'd hang out here, I'd go over here, I'd go over here. And like, it was just, I don't know, I'm not like a better person because of it. I was always like that. So like, I say that I was always like that because I have to back up in time. So in middle school, I stayed over like 7th grade, 6th grade. I stayed over at my friend's house who was Korean, and like we weren't paying attention to it or their parents didn't remember. But the next day was the multicultural fair, and we didn't coordinate my parents picking me up in time. And I ended up going with them to the multicultural fair, which meant I went to the Korean booth and hung out behind the booth on the, oh, God forbid, I'm on the, now that I understand demilitarized zones and Korea specifically, maybe I understand this with better context, but I remember asking him what they were saying in Korean around me, and it was person after person after person saying, why is that white kid back here?
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, as a kid, like, because you're 7th grade, you're smart enough. I'm like, this is the multicultural fair. What is the point? Is your point of let's bring all these cultures together and isolate them? Or is it truly a multicultural fair? Because dude, I just, and now like I'm old enough now to know that all of the Asians hate other Asians, so why wouldn't they hate the whites? But like, dude, that was such an eye opener for me of just performative bullshit, right? Like, I got it. You know what? I'm not a victim at all in this, but that hurt. That honestly hurt.
It makes me sad to hear that story.
It makes me sad to remember it.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right.
I went that in and out later, probably. Everything was good. I lived in my middle class 90s upbringing, which would be a fucking Brazilianaire now, right? Like middle class 90s is like fucking.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a abortion hearing. Are we going to do this?
Oh.
There was an abortion hearing, I think, today. So the caption on this I thought was pretty good. These aren't my words. This is Jessica Valenti. She's got a blue check, so I'm sure she's libtard, right? Checkmate. No, let's give her some credit because I like what she wrote. The fact that Republicans brought Christina Francis, that's the woman that's being grilled by this congressperson. The fact that Republicans brought this woman as the star witness in today's Senate abortion hearing tells you everything that you need to know. She and her group want to ban birth control, not abortion, ban birth control. That's who the GOP chose to represent them, because they could bring anyone. They could bring someone that won't. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's enough editorializing. I like the way she put it. I didn't want to rephrase it. There's a little bit of grilling, and then she gets to her point. She keeps asking her yes or no questions that she won't say yes or no to. The woman asking the questions is smart, Senator Murray. And she goes, okay, I guess I expected that. Here's a little bit. Now that you've told me that, here's what that means. Okay, here, enough. Let's unmute it.
Do you believe that women should have access to Plan B? Yes or no?
I believe that women deserve to have accurate information about their
I'm not
health care.
asking you that question. Do you believe that women should have access to Plan B?
I think that women should be given any medication under the supervision of a
So
physician.
you support access to Plan B?
I support women having access to accurate information and care from a physician.
Do you believe that women should have access
This is frustrating, right?
It is frustrating, yes.
to medication abortion? Just yes or no?
Chemical abortion are
It's not, that doesn't even rhyme with yes or no.
are dangerous,
no?
high-risk drugs.
So no. Do you believe women should have access to IUDs? Yes or no?
I believe
IUD, a copper implant.
By the way,
that,
they're
again-
not dangerous high-risk drugs. They've been
And
used
certainly
for-
not compared to the risk of having sepsis because you carried a child
Yeah.
full term that was going to put you at risk in delivering
Right.
pregnancy.
Right.
women should receive comprehensive health care under the
Access to-
direction of a physician.
Access to IUDs? Do you believe women should have access to IUDs? Yes or no?
I believe that women should have access to OBGYN physicians who can counsel
I
them
t-
about all of
So
their
sure.
Take
options.
that as a no. And I want to ask you for the record today, do you think that IUDs and emergency contraceptives are abortifacients? Yes or no?
So if you look at the package inserts for such as
Let her talk, but she keeps going. I'll take that as a no, which I feel like it really actually shows why she's an admirable representative, because she will get that on the record, right?
Mm-hmm.
the copper IUD, it
She
actually
starts talking about the package insert on the copper ID. She said, should the IUD be legalized, whatever? Should it, does this count?
Should
as-
women have access to it?
Yeah. And she says, well, if you look at the package inserts, there's a line in there that if you interpret the way my group does, that's why I gave you the caption first, right?
Mm.
She's a representative of a group that's trying to repeal birth control.
Mm-hmm.
She's talking about a way of interpreting the package insert and a way of changing the definition of what an abortion, what would be considered an abortion, so that they could ban birth control underneath the Supreme Court. This is all an agenda. They overturned Roe versus Wade so they could change the definition to overturn birth control.
Yep.
That's the short version.
clearly states that they do prevent implantation even if fertilization has occurred,
so
which
do
would
you
classify.
So if you think that preventing implantation is the same as an abortion, which this person does,
Yeah.
then now you have to think that, because I am a lobbyist.
That as an abortifacient, yes,
Do you believe
per the
that?
package insert.
Okay. I just want to, for the record, say, Dr. Francis, your organization has taken the mind-boggling position in defiance of nearly all medical experts that abortion is never necessary to save a woman's life. According to resources that were put out by your organization, you recommend that in cases of
Thank you for smoking, right? Like, this is manufacturing consent. This is just get the lobbyist to change the words so that you can, right?
100%, yes.
dangerous pregnancy complications like a massive placental abruption, women should be forced to labor for 24 hours, even if that means being treated with blood transfusions in intensive care, and even if their pregnancy is non-viable in the first place, just so they can deliver a, quote, intact fetus. It has also been well documented how your organization is working behind the scenes with Republican lawmakers to redefine certain kinds of contraceptives as abortions, so you can ultimately ban those types of contraceptions. I think that is incredibly alarming. And it's really important for people to understand the Republican minority has specifically invited you to this hearing today, despite those dangerous positions. For the information of all senators, we are going to be voting this week on the right to contraception. And I hope everyone truly thinks about what that means for women and how it would change our entire country and our women's rights moving forward across the board. So I just wanted to make
So
that
we
very
talk a
clear.
lot about how Democrats suck at messaging, or at least I do. And I know you agree with me. I tend to beat on that drum a lot more.
Sure.
And the best pivot for Democrats is to say, yeah, sure, economically things aren't great right now. I can get diluted into a conversation about how the economy fell apart in 2020. We never canceled the global the global economy before. Maybe that was I can fall down that road. How about this though? How much is that going to matter when people are dying because they can't have normal medical procedures when they have a pregnancy that doesn't go well? And you just get into that. Republicans want to change the definition of birth control and force you to carry a child full term when it could cost you your life to deliver that.
Well, I mean, that's the irony of that entire argument, right? They say that, or they claim to be pro-life, but when you actually zoom out, it's like, well, what about the fact that you're endangering the life of a otherwise healthy woman who has a fetus who is unviable, and you still won't allow them to have access to this medical care that could save their life? How does that math make sense in any fucking universe? It doesn't.
And you don't have to force any of this. You
No.
can default on let people decide.
Right.
Make the best decision on a case-by-case basis. And your argument against that is extreme cases of people having 7 abortions because they're fucking psychopaths and just don't, yeah, I think that's despicable too. I think that that's what comes with giving people the illusion of free will. I know we don't have it. It's all determined. I've read a book about it, but that's a separate conversation. That palate cleanser? Or you look like you have another thought, or your computer froze.
No, I do have another thought. I'm just deciding whether or not I want to share it. I've never
Come on,
shared
it's
this.
3 hours and 6 minutes into the show. Nobody's listening.
Okay. I don't think I've ever told you.
Do you remember this phase of the show last week where I motherfucked my best friend for 20 years?
I do.
Okay, nobody found out about that. It's fine.
Okay. Okay. I have had I have been, this is hard. I don't even know how to say this.
Hey, if I'm anticipating where this is going, feel comfortable. You're in company, man.
I have been with a girlfriend who got pregnant and the pregnancy was unviable. It's happened to me, where there was a miscarriage. And that's it sucks to deal with that. And I still think about it sometimes, but the fact that fortunately I live in California and she was able to get health care, so her life wasn't at risk due to that consequence. I didn't ever think that I would have to be thankful for that. That should just be a thing.
Right. Like you didn't. I think to say you took it for granted is too strong, but you didn't think you'd ever.
I didn't. Right.
That was the right thing to do at that time.
It absolutely.
And to not have that choice, that would, like, that should make you angry to have someone try to take that from you because of a belief they have.
Yeah, 100%, 100%, man. So when I talk about this topic, like I understand it pretty well. This just disgusts me. And we had that Hitchens clip that was in the hidden track, where he's like, look, you can have your toys as a person who believes in religion, and you can play with them, and you can do whatever you want.
A little condescending with the toys thing.
I know, but he's like, I'm not trying to take that away from you. Believe what you want to believe. Act how you want to act. If you think that it's a crime against God to use birth control or to use these medications that could save your life, then do you.
Yeah.
But don't impose that shit on me.
And also, full disclosure, you also think the Earth is 6,000 years old, which is verifiably false. So, don't come at me with telling me the absolute truth, okay?
Yeah.
Like I'll let you think that. Let me do this.
Yeah.
I don't care that this bothers you. You know how much that offends me? You think the Earth's 6,000 years old? I've stared into the Grand Canyon and had an idiot within earshot that was like, wow, all that in 6,000 years. Like,
are you serious?
Yes.
Fucking Christ.
No, it was more like somebody was telling the story of it, and they were like, they got to a point where they were going to say the time period, and the person interrupted with 6,000 years. It was like even worse. Like,
wow.
But like, look, it's fun to pick on, but like, you got to deal with me doing that.
Right.
I got to deal with you thinking that. You got to like, just my default position on most things is it'll be a better world if you just trust that person to make what they think is the best decision for their body. And that has to do with what they do with it, what they put in it, and what they use it for. And you'll find extreme cases of this. It's not happening every day. And if it's happening every day, it's because there's 8 billion people on this planet, but that's a separate issue. Speaking of the fact there's 8 billion people on this planet, sometimes people get really famous and have meetings with the president and Kanye West and also say this. So if you don't know who Nick Fuentes is, you're living a great life.
Yeah, congratulations if you don't.
White supremacist Hispanic man Nick Fuentes says, who is on in his live streams, he's got open tabs of like trans porn. So like that's like I don't think that's noteworthy, but when you talk like this,
right?
Girlfriend. I think if anything, it makes me less gay. If anything, it makes me not gay, as opposed to less gay. Not that there's any gay, but it makes me not gay.
that he's never had a girlfriend.
Because think about it this way. You know, a gay people do date girls all the time.
Okay.
Real.
Do they?
And when I said on Elijah Schaefer's show, and they said, have you ever been in a romantic relationship? Have you ever had sex with a girl? And I said, no. If you name searched me on Twitter, as I always do, all these gay people are coming out and saying, I've had more girlfriends than Nick. I've had sex with more girls than Nick. So like I said last week, not only is that thinking flawed, but actually it's the reverse. That actually makes me really more heterosexual than anybody. If we're really being honest, never having a girlfriend, never having sex with a woman really makes you more heterosexual, because honestly, dating women is gay.
The pretzel that you have to turn your mind into to make that argument is just incredible.
What argument? He never got there.
There wasn't an
He's just like gay guys fuck women. So therefore,
I'm less gay. Wow.
Yeah, but he jacks off to gay porn. So like, say, okay, man. Like,
whatever, you know. Yeah.
Here, man, this is a long show.
It is.
You just looked at the time.
Yeah.
You know what the good thing is? Like, don't edit at all anymore. So
Yeah.
it's like I
It's all
finished
good.
this. I have to move the second half thing over slightly so that it times up, and then put a bumper
Nice.
at the beginning, and we're good to go. Okay, sorry. Here's let's play the Jon Stewart clip.
See how powerful, like, they don't have fucking time. I remember when we went down there for the first version of what was called the PACT Act, which was that Toxic Exposure Act for veterans. So we got together a bipartisan group of congresspeople, and we all sat around a table. And I was there with Rosie and Leroy Torres, who were going to lay out like what they'd been through over the last 10 years, what was going on these military bases, all the terrible health effects of the different things. It was very similar to the 9/11. We lay it all out, very compelling. They're all on board. And then they go, but here's the thing. So there's so much going on down here. Could you guys write it? The legislation. Could you write it? And I'm like, I could write a 10-minute bit about the legislation, but I don't know the first thing about it. They don't know the first. But in that moment, I thought, oh, that's how this shit happens. So imagine you're not trying to get health care for veterans. You're trying to get banking regulations eased so that you can make derivative swaps on mortgages and blow up the world financial system.
That's just a hypothetical.
And you go in and you say,
That didn't happen.
Yeah, not in 2008.
No.
oh, this is this thing, and it makes a ton. And they go, it's so busy down here. Could you write it if I have to?
Right.
And they write it.
Wow.
So much of the legislation is influenced.
That's it.
I mean, we've talked about this before. I mean, lobbyists outnumber Congress members by, I don't know, like what, 5 to 1, 10 to 1? It's some massive number. And yeah, a lot of times the regulation that gets put out in legislation, for instance, the fossil fuel industry, is written by lobbyists from the fucking fossil fuel industry. This is documented. We know this happens all the fucking time. Especially when you got members of Congress just stunting and not interested in actually doing anything legislatively. It's a fucked up system. I mean, he's right. It's 100%.
I hate to contradict myself in some conceivable way. God knows I've talked long enough to have a million contradictions. The two biggest lobbyist groups, I believe, are the Israel and Ukraine lobby.
Oh, Israel's huge.
Yeah,
I
but
think
sorry.
fossil
Since
fuel.
like 2014, Ukraine's been like,
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
yeah,
Fossil fuel's up there. So is gun rights.
not anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This is going to be the last clip, and then I have final thoughts, questions,
okay.
whatever we call that. So I've always admired this guy. This is Matthew McConaughey. I've never had such a fucking boner for him than when he says, what do you call it? He says aggressively centrist. Man, we were on this shit first. Like,
Yeah.
all right. We've been saying that first, at least. I never heard him say this till recently. But man, you put that handsome, famous face up there and say something like our brand, like he only has one major flaw, though. I'll play it after the clip.
Drinking that Kool-Aid because we're hearing it from both sides, the extreme right and the extreme left, and they have the microphone. I believe we have the numbers. The masses have the numbers. That when we got to take the mic back, kick them off democracy's boat, and say no, you're not steering this boat. I'm much more aggressively centrist like that, and I believe that the people I talk to on both sides are much more reasonable about things than we're being told we are.
So what contributes to that? Social media?
Sure.
Coverage of the splits between the two parties?
Well, hey, drama makes better news. We're still having arguments in the world every day about what a fact is. Because a fact and the truth? Oh, man, I'm bored of that. I don't want to know that. Come on, give me some sensation. Quit drinking that Kool-Aid because we're here.
God, that's great.
Yeah. But he is a UT fan, so I fucking hate him.
Horns down, bro.
Horns down. Oh man, you make me happy. Thank you. I'll be wearing my Boomer Sooner shirt talking about that. I've had this shirt since like 2007, man.
I remember it. Hell yeah.
All right. This has nothing to do with anything. This is just how we're landing the plane. Can we just completely shift gears?
Sure.
All right, let's take a breather. So sometimes I like to end these with little anecdotes that come up in the personal life. Sometimes they're deep thoughts. Those were quotes. So I know someone who dated a quadriplegic.
Oh, I know somebody who married a quadriplegic.
And they were able-bodied. Did they meet them while they were fully quadriplegic? Yeah. Okay. So similarly, right? Okay. Now they married them.
Yes.
I have a wrinkle to this story that I feel is interesting.
Okay.
So I found out from them that they never, it was like an ex. I didn't know them while they were together.
Okay.
So when I found out about that, I was like, well, tell me more. And he was just like, well, we never really broke up officially. I just avoided her. And I was just like, what, like stay at the top of the stairs? Like, what does that mean? Like
it's a whole new level of ghosting.
It is.
Right there.
True story though.
Wow.
Like the old Christopher Reeves joke.
Yeah.
Charred and at the top of a stairwell. I do have a dating story to tell you, but I am interested in your friend. Is there anything to that other than the?
I lost contact with them a long time ago. They got married when I was in my teenage years. He was an older friend of mine. Really good dude, and they seem super happy, but I've lost contact. I don't know what's happened with that story.
So can I tell you a story about a date that I went on?
Yeah.
So I was younger. This is when I still lived at home. Like I had a car, you go pick a girl up, meet her parents at the door, go on the date. This is the 90s. I don't know if that still happens. You probably just text a girl and find a way to meet them, but we didn't even have that. You had to call and their dad would answer and you'd ask for her with a non-shaky voice.
Right.
So so I go to pick this girl up. Sorry. I had met her at a party. She was pretty cool. She was in a wheelchair.
Okay.
Now she had the ability to she could use her legs, but she couldn't walk.
Okay.
Like it was so she had to live in a chair, you know?
Mhm.
So really cool personality. Like, okay, I'm a little bit of a pig. She was very fit still. I still don't understand how. Like, you'd think, like, how do you do that?
There's ways.
Chair
Yeah.
body, yeah. And so I pick her up, you know, talk to the dad. He says be home by a certain time, whatever. We go to the movie, get good seats. There's perks. They just started having theater seats where there was that row in the
Right,
middle
that's
that was actually halfway
there was
up.
a section
Right?
in yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm getting all shaky with the story. So, on the way home, she's like, you know, pull over here. People in Penasquitos is called Sunset Park. So it's like it's set a little bit back from the street, and then back where the park is, there's a lot of trees. So, you know, kind of gets
Cover.
Yeah, yeah.
Privacy.
Yeah, there was always stories about like gangs in Sunset Park in the 90s. By our time period, it was a little bit safer and was like kids doing drugs or, you know, maybe other things, right? So she wants a little stroll in the park. And I'm like, okay, so we stroll along the path, obviously. And we go to a place where there's like a bench that has like a paved way to get to. And from there, there's like a picnic area. And there's a branch that came over the picnic area.
Okay.
And she reaches up to the branch, picks herself up, and wraps herself around me.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop the story there.
I know.
Okay. So then I take her home
Mhm.
and we're late.
Mm.
So her dad's out front and I'm like, I'm in fucking trouble.
Right.
Nothing really happens. Like, it's not like there's nothing like we get out of the car. Like, it's a whole fucking
There's
thing.
no confrontation.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Oh, by the way, it was her car, obviously, because the chair.
Accoutrement. Yes.
Yeah. And like, that was a whole thing. Like, you know, the whole, like, it doesn't happen in a second, right? Like, there's a whole, like, getting out of the chair.
Right.
out of
It
the
takes a
car.
while. Yeah. It's a process.
No drama through all of that.
Okay.
And then the dad actually comes up to me non-aggressively and he takes me to the side and he like grabs my hand. And he's like, hey man, I appreciate you being a man about this. Most guys would leave her hanging.
Play the outro.
When a guy's banging you,
Y'all let me in this damn house.
oh, how about that?
Come in the name of peace.
LMFAO.
So what in the world is this?
Is Kevin McCarthy a moron, and if so, why? Why would you say something that stupid?
I come without explanations or solutions.
I'm a very sexy lady.
Cat turd.
I will not suffer this harlot. How great! An anti-American Marxist.
Ted Cruz, go fuck yourself.
Read the news. China is asshole.
God bless the United States.
Podcasting